Chapter 2120. Lin or Yu Er. Seeing Chen Lin and Chen Yu's bodies, Chen Huangyi was overcome with grief, his eyes turning blood red. His two children, in one day, both died in Mo Qingyun's room. This kind of grief almost drove him crazy. Chen Huangyi's rationality, at this moment, was instantly replaced by hatred. Mo Qingyun, I now value you, but you actually killed my children. Chen Huangyi's face darkened, his expression turning malevolent as he shouted angrily. The grudge of killing my children is irreconcilable. Even if I, Chen Huangyi, die, I will not let you off. In his rage, in his loss of rationality, Chen Huangyi no longer thought about why Mo Qingyun would do such a thing. He instinctively thought that since Chen Lin and Chen Yu's bodies were here, it must have been Mo Qingyun's doing. Master, please remain calm. Seeing Chen Huangyi's reaction, Ting Sha's lips curled into a cold smile as he hurriedly said, I feel that there is something fishy about this matter. It is not as simple as it seems. We need to discuss this further. Hearing Ting Sha's words, Chen Huangyi's expression turned for the better, his rationality returning slightly. Seeing that Chen Huangyi had regained some rationality, Ting Sha did not stop and continued. I feel that the young lord and miss were not killed by Mo Qingyun. If they were really killed by Mo Qingyun, he would not have placed the bodies in the room, he would have destroyed the evidence. Hearing Ting Sha's analysis, Chen Huangyi's eyelids twitched as he continuously nodded his head. Ting Sha's words were not false. With Mo Qingyun's intelligence, he would definitely not do such a foolish thing. It seems like he had wronged Mo Qingyun. Immediately, Chen Huangyi's expression turned serious as he considered who the real murderer was. Just as Chen Huangyi was deep in thought, Ting Sha changed the topic and pointed the spearhead at Mo Qingyun, saying, even though this matter was not done by Mo Qingyun, with the young lord and miss bodies here, it is obvious that someone wanted to frame Mo Qingyun, hence, this matter must be related to Mo Qingyun. To find the murderer, we must start with him. Ting Sha and the rest nodded their heads again, feeling that Ting Sha's analysis was very logical and wanted to hear him continue. Seeing Chen Huangyi's reaction, Ting Sha felt even more pleased. He knew that his suspicions had been cleared. Since young master and young Mrs. deaths are closely related to Mo Qingyun is also an indirect murderer. Ting Sha beat around the bush and once again pushed the blame onto Mo Qingyun. Moreover, there was not the slightest flaw in his words, causing Mo Qingyun to be unable to defend himself. One had to admit, this move of his was indeed vicious. Even if Chen Huangyi calmed down, he could not deny that Mo Qingyun indirectly caused the deaths of the Chen Lin duo. Seeing that Chen Huangyi agreed with his point of view, Ting Sha did not try to persuade Chen Huangyi to take revenge, but his expression turned serious as he said, Sovereign, Mo Qingyun is extremely powerful. With just the few of us, it is impossible to deal with him. We need to find some helpers. After Ting Sha's analysis, Chen Huangyi completely believed Ting Sha in his heart, and asked, Guardian Tian, in your opinion, what should we do next? For a gentleman to take revenge, 100 years is not too late. If we want to deal with Mo Qingyun, we cannot be hasty, we need to have absolute confidence. Seeing that Chen Huangyi completely believed in him, Ting Sha first calmed Chen Huangyi down, then pointed to the Chen Lin duo's bodies and said, Master, this is not the place to discuss this. To prevent Mo Qingyun duo from returning and discovering that we want to deal with them, let's leave this place for now. Bring the young master and young lady's bodies. Hearing Ting Sha's instructions, Chen Huangyi nodded his head and instructed the group. Following which, Chen Huangyi and the rest left and directly returned to the Bloodsword sect. Chen Huangyi and the rest returned to the Bloodsword sect and took care of Chen Lin and Chen Yu's bodies, then began to discuss. In the Bloodsword sect's meeting hall. Guardian Tian, quickly tell me how we should deal with Mo Qingyun. At the top of the Bloodsword sect's meeting hall, Chen Huangyi had an inquiring look on his face as he asked Ting Sha for his opinion. Under Chen Huangyi's inquiry, Ting Sha fell silent for a moment, then said, Master, I believe that we should first hide the young master and young lady's deaths, and find some powerful helpers during this period. When the time comes, we can then hold a funeral for the young master and young lady and kill Mo Qingyun in one fell swoop. Hearing Ting Sha's suggestion, Chen Huangyi's gaze turned cold as he involuntarily clenched his fists. Seeing his enemy right in front of him, yet having to keep it a secret, this feeling was truly unbearable. Although he was furious, Chen Huangyi knew that Ting Sha's suggestion was the best. "All right, we'll do as you say." Chen Huangyi fell silent for a moment before he agreed with Ting Sha's suggestion. "Guardian Tian, you have a wide range of friends, so I'll leave the matter of finding helpers to you." Due to the pain of his injuries, Chen Huangyi no longer had the mood to find helpers to deal with Mo Qingyun. "All right, I will definitely complete this task." Seeing that everything was going according to his plan, Ting Sha sneered inwardly. "Mo Qingyun, you're still too inexperienced if you want to fight with me." Based on the current situation, everything in the Bloodsword sect was already under his complete control. Later on, if he found some powerful helpers, he would have more confidence in dealing with Mo Qingyun. At that time, he might be able to take down Mo Qingyun if he was caught off guard. Ting Sha consoled Chen Huangyi before he left the Bloodsword sect. In the Floral Language restaurant, Mo Qingyun left the Precious Treasure Pavilion and returned to his residence with Qian Linglong. He knew nothing about the arrival of Chen Huangyi and the others, so he didn't know that Chen Huangyi had misunderstood him. When Mo Qingyun returned to his room, he separated from Qian Linglong and sat cross-legged on the bed. There shouldn't be any problems with the Precious Treasure Pavilion's branch. Mo Qingyun nodded his head in satisfaction when he thought about the Precious Treasure Pavilion's branch. After settling the matter of the Precious Treasure Pavilion's branch, Mo Qingyun began to think about how to deal with the other members of the Dark Demon tribe. "With my current strength, I can only fight against an ordinary late-stage sage powerhouse. It's not enough to fight against someone like Z Quebec. I need to continue increasing my strength." After the battle with Z Gang, Mo Qingyun had a clear understanding of his own strength. Realizing that he wasn't strong enough, Mo Qingyun didn't waste any more time and immediately immersed himself in his cultivation. He took out a large number of medicinal crystals and piled them around his body as he frantically refined them. As Mo Qingyun continued to refine the medicinal crystals, the aura emanating from his body grew stronger. Chapter 21-21. For the next few days, everything was calm and tranquil. There was not the slightest bit of incident. Because of this, it made people feel that a storm was coming in Thousand Language City. In the blink of an eye, 5 days had passed. After 5 days of planning and arrangement, Thousand Language Manor was back on track, and the new patriarch was chosen. Qian Yulong became the new patriarch, and he quietly brought a group of elders to Flower Language Restaurant to see Mo Qingyun. "Qingyun, Qian Yulong and the others are here." Seeing that Qian Yulong and the others were here, Qian Linglong came to Mo Qingyun and whispered to Mo Qingyun. Hearing Qian Linglong's words, Mo Qingyun opened his eyes and came out of cultivation. He said, "You're quite efficient. That's good. I can take control of Thousand Language City sooner." With the current cultivation speed, it should take another month to break through to the second level of the Nine Heavens Xian Immortal Realm. After coming out of cultivation, Mo Qingyun sensed his cultivation and analyzed the cultivation gains of the past few days. Mo Qingyun muttered a few words to himself, and then he put away all the medicinal crystals and opened the door. Then, Qian Linglong and the others came in and greeted Mo Qingyun. "Mr. Mo, Thousand Language Manor is back on track. Do you have any instructions next?" When Qian Yulong entered the room, he showed a respectful expression and bowed to Mo Qingyun for instructions. After some previous contact, Qian Yulong and the others could see that the one who made the decision was Mo Qingyun. Hearing Qian Yulong's words, Mo Qingyun's eyes immediately became sharp, and he exuded a majestic aura. He said, "Since this place is called Thousand Language City, everything will be decided by Thousand Language Manor. How can we let other forces go beyond our control?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Yulong and the others trembled, and they immediately guessed Mo Qingyun's thoughts. Looking at Mo Qingyun's posture, it seemed that he was going to make a move against the Jinxing Palace, the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion, and the Bloody Corpse Demon Sect, making these powers bow down to him. Thinking of this, Qian Yulong became nervous. He quickly said, "Mr. Mo, from what you're saying, are you going to attack the forces in the city? Shouldn't we do that?" Mo Qingyun didn't answer Qian Yulong's question. Instead, he asked a question in return. After Mo Qingyun's question, Qian Yulong's face darkened as he said, "Mr. Mo, before we came here, a group of people from the Gold Punishment Palace went to the Thousand Language residents and asked us to give them 40% of Thousand Language City's profits. Giving them 40%, their appetite is not small." Hearing Qian Yulong's words, Mo Qingyun squinted his eyes, revealing a cold look. Then, Mo Qingyun looked at Qian Yulong and smiled meaningfully. "Did you agree with them?" "No, I didn't." Qian Yulong shook his head and expressed his attitude. Then, he looked troubled and said, "The Gold Punishment Palace is very powerful now. Their strength has slightly surpassed the Thousand Language residents. I didn't dare to fight with them rashly. I wanted to ask Mr. Mo and the Saintess for their opinions." Hearing Qian Yulong's words, Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction and approved of Qian Yulong's actions. He said, "How about this, you ask them to meet somewhere? When the time comes, I'll talk to them personally and see what they want." "Yes." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Yulong's face immediately lit up and he quickly nodded at Mo Qingyun. After discussing the matter with the Gold Punishment Palace, Qian Yulong frowned and reported to Mo Qingyun, "Mr. Mo, not long ago, I received news that the news of Z Gang and the others being killed has spread to Thousand Language City. The Dark Demon Tribe in Thousand Language City has already sent people to Thousand Language City." The news spread pretty fast. Mo Qingyun wasn't surprised by Qian Yulong's report. This was expected. After reporting the news from Thousand Moon City, Qian Yulong and the others left to meet with the people from the Gold Punishment Palace. Originally, I was thinking about how to deal with the Gold Punishment Palace. I didn't expect them to take the initiative to send themselves to me. When Qian Yulong and the others left, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly. He had thought about how to deal with the Gold Punishment Palace. Mo Qingyun muttered to himself. He stopped cultivating and got up to walk out of the house. He said, "Let's go to the Treasure Pavilion and see how Jingping and the others are progressing." Qian Linglong nodded and left with Mo Qingyun. After a while, Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong arrived at the Treasure Pavilion and went to look for Jingping and the others. At this moment, the Treasure Pavilion was bustling with people. Apart from a portion of people who came to buy things, there was also a portion of people who came to apply for jobs. Hearing that Mo Qingyun wanted to open a branch, Zheng Ping immediately posted a recruitment notice and screened the people from the Treasure Pavilion branch. Seeing this situation, Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction and walked into the Treasure Pavilion filled with birds and fragrant flowers. Looking at the current situation, the matter of opening the Treasure Pavilion branch was progressing very smoothly. Mo Qingyun entered the Treasure Pavilion and found Zheng Ping and the others. He asked about the specific progress of the matter. At this time, outside the Treasure Pavilion, a group of arrogant people came. This group of people had a small golden axe embroidered on their clothes. This was the symbol of their faction. "Scram! Scram! Don't block the way here!" Seeing the people outside the Treasure Pavilion, this group of people's faces darkened, and they shouted angrily at the crowd. Hearing this, fear appeared on the crowd's faces and they immediately made way for them. "They're from the Gold Punishment Palace. That guy is the young lord of the Gold Punishment Palace, Jin Wei. It's said that although Jin Wei is a good-for-nothing, his cultivation talent is superb. He reached the quasi-saint realm in just 3,000 years. If he hadn't been lazy in cultivation, he might have broken through to the saint realm already. Lower your voice. Jin Wei's personality is eccentric and temperamental. Don't let him hear you. When the crowd saw the people from the Gold Punishment Palace arrive, they retreated with fear and whispered in low voices. Jin Wei nodded in satisfaction at everyone's reaction. He looked at the Precious Treasures Pavilion and said, "A tiny Precious Treasures Pavilion has actually caused such a huge commotion. Aren't they a little too ostentatious? I'll teach them a lesson today." As soon as Jin Wei finished speaking, he cocked his head, intending to walk into the treasure pavilion, where birds chirped and flowers bloomed. Seeing this, a middle-aged man beside him immediately tensed up. "Young lord, the treasure pavilion is Emo Qingyun's property. That Emo Qingyun is very overbearing. We'd better not provoke him." "Emo Qingyun? That coward?" Jin Wei curled his lips in disdain when he heard the man beside him. Evidently, he'd heard some rumors about Emo Qingyun. Chapter 21-22. Jin Wei has entered the treasure pavilion. It looks like he's going to stir up trouble. Jin Wei went to provoke Emo Qingyun. Later, we'll be able to determine if the rumors are true. A leopard can't change its spots. I don't believe the rumors that Emo Qingyun is a coward. I don't believe it either, so I'm looking forward to seeing Emo Qingyun beat Jin Wei up. I'm looking forward to it too, haha. Seeing Jin Wei enter the Precious Treasures Pavilion, everyone's faces were filled with anticipation as they followed behind Jin Wei. When Jin Wei saw that everyone had followed him, the smug look on his face became even more intense. In his opinion, beating Emo Qingyun up in front of so many people would feel even better. "Young Master Jin Wei, what brings you here today?" Jin Wei was very famous in Thousand Word City, so the chief steward was no stranger to him. He immediately went to greet him. Jin Wei's expression improved when he saw the chief steward's respectful behavior. He glanced at the chief steward and said, "Cut the crap. Tell your steward to come out. It's that Emo Qingyun or something." "Young Master Jin Wei, are you looking for Mr. Emo?" The chief steward frowned when he heard Jin Wei's words. He looked troubled. Emo Qingyun was discussing important matters with Zheng Ping and the others. It wasn't a good idea to disturb him now. "What? Didn't you hear what I said?" Jin Wei's expression darkened when the chief steward didn't move. He said unhappily, "Or is Emo Qingyun so important that I have to personally invite him over?" "Young Master Jin Wei, please don't be angry. I'll go get Mr. Emo now." The chief steward's expression changed when he saw Jin Wei's actions. He hurriedly comforted Jin Wei. Jin Wei's expression improved when the chief steward comforted him. He found a place to sit down. After comforting Jin Wei and the others, the chief steward didn't hesitate any longer and immediately went to invite Emo Qingyun over. Soon, the chief steward came to Emo Qingyun's room and reported Jin Wei's situation. "Young lord of the Gold Punishment Palace?" After learning about Jin Wei, Emo Qingyun's expression froze for a moment before a playful smile appeared on his face. He hadn't even gone looking for trouble with the Gold Punishment Palace, yet the other party had taken the initiative to come knocking on his door. "If that's the case, I'll go out and meet him." Now that he knew Jin Wei's identity and background, Emo Qingyun didn't waste any more words. He got up and left the room. Seeing Emo Qingyun walking out of the room, Qian Linglong and the others quickly followed him out of the room with Emo Qingyun. Before long, under the lead of the chief manager, Emo Qingyun saw Jin Wei and the others. Seeing Emo Qingyun and the others arrive, Jin Wei casually stood up and slowly walked towards Emo Qingyun. "You're that cowardly Emo Qingyun?" Arriving before Emo Qingyun, Jin Wei glanced at Emo Qingyun before revealing a disdainful expression. He said, I originally thought that you would hide with your tail between your legs after learning that I was looking for you. I didn't think that you'd dare to come out. You've surprised me. There will be more things that will surprise you. Mo Qingyun paid no heed to Jin Wei's mockery. He replied indifferently, Speak. Why have you come looking for me? Jin Wei raised his head when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He pointed at the crowd outside and said, Your precious treasures pavilion has been too high profile in your recruitment. I order you to immediately withdraw your recruitment notice. And if I refuse? Mo Qingyun's expression became colder when he heard Jin Wei's words. He replied forcefully, In Thousand Language City, even if you want to meddle in other people's business, it doesn't seem to be the Gold Punishment Palace's turn. It should be the Thousand Language Manners people. Brat, do you really not know, or are you just pretending? The Thousand Language Manor only exists in name now. Jin Wei chuckled when he heard Mo Qingyun's words, expressing his disdain for the Thousand Language Manor. He continued, I believe that it won't be long before the Thousand Language Manor changes its name. I'll say it again. Immediately remove your recruitment notice, or don't blame me for being impolite. Looking at Jin Wei's performance, Mo Qingyun smiled. His smile was very bright. Since Jin Wei was looking for a beating, he could only fulfill his wish. Just how impolite are you going to be? Hurry up and let me experience it. Mo Qingyun didn't take Jin Wei's threat to heart at all. He looked at Jin Wei provocatively. Jin Wei's expression turned ugly when he saw Mo Qingyun's attitude. He waved his hand at the people behind him and said, Since Mr. Mo has spoken, don't be a wet blanket. Give him a good treatment. Also, I don't think there's any need for this precious treasure pavilion to continue operating. Yes. The people from the Gold Punishment Palace walked forward with cold smiles on their faces when they heard Jin Wei's instructions. Qian Linglong and the others' faces turned cold when they saw the actions of the people from the Gold Punishment Palace. They released a powerful aura. Holy aura. 3 holy auras. Jin Wei and the others were shocked when they sensed the auras of Qian Linglong and the others. Fear appeared on their faces. Since the Gold Punishment Palace was a powerful force in Thousand Language City, ordinary people didn't dare to provoke them. Therefore, Jin Wei didn't bring too many experts with him. Among the people beside Jin Wei, there was only one initial stage sage. Obviously, he wasn't a match for Qian Linglong and the others. It's just 3 Saint Realm experts. Do you dare to fight with the Gold Punishment Palace? Jin Wei looked disdainful when he knew the cultivation of Qian Linglong and the others. He ordered the people behind him, Don't just stand there. Give Mo Qingyun a good treatment and tear down the precious treasure pavilion. I don't believe that they would dare to fight with the Gold Punishment Palace. Yes. The people from the Gold Punishment Palace no longer hesitated when they heard Jin Wei's order. Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold when he saw the actions of the people from the Gold Punishment Palace. He nodded at Qian Linglong and the others and said, Throw them out. If they dare to take half a step into the precious treasure pavilion, kill them without mercy. Yes. Qian Linglong and the others nodded in response when they heard Mo Qingyun's order. They immediately attacked the people from the Gold Punishment Palace. The people from the Gold Punishment Palace were thrown out like chickens and dogs in the face of Qian Linglong and the others. Due to Mo Qingyun's special order, although the people from the Gold Punishment Palace were thrown out, Jin Wei was left behind. You dare to attack us? Jin Wei panicked when he saw his subordinates being thrown out. He didn't expect Mo Qingyun to really attack them. Mo Qingyun smiled contemptuously when he saw Jin Wei's panicked expression. He said coldly, Do you want to get out of here yourself, or do you want us to send you out? Boy, you're going too far. Jin Wei's expression turned ugly when he saw Mo Qingyun's domineering attitude. His eyes were filled with coldness. Chapter 21-23. A wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. I'll remember this. Jin Wei also knew that it wasn't worth it for him to fight Mo Qingyun head-on in this situation. Jin Wei understood this point and didn't linger any longer. He turned around and left the precious treasure pavilion. Wait! Seeing Jin Wei's actions, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He coldly shouted at him and said, I told you to get out. Don't you know how to get out? Do you need me to get someone to teach you? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Jin Wei's expression immediately darkened. He gnashed his teeth and said angrily, Brat, don't go too far. Don't leave yourself with no way out. Since you don't want to get out, then crawl out. Seeing that Jin Wei was still grumbling, Mo Qingyun became impatient and directly slapped him. Before Mo Qingyun could finish his words, Jin Wei was sent flying by Mo Qingyun's palm. Bang! Jin Wei fell to the ground and made a loud noise, stirring up a cloud of dust. Seeing Jin Wei fall to the ground, the Jinxing Palace people panicked. They wanted to rush over to check on Jin Wei's injuries. However, before they could get close to the precious treasure pavilion, they were sent flying by Qian Linglong and the others. They fell back onto the city road. After being sent flying by Qian Linglong and the others again, the Jinxing Palace people didn't get up for a long time. This was because Qian Linglong and the others had shown mercy. Otherwise, they would have been killed before Qian Linglong and the others could attack again. As for Jin Wei, who was sent flying by Mo Qingyun, he was lying on the ground like a dead dog. He didn't move at all. Looking at his current state, it seemed difficult for him to even crawl out. He could only be carried away. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned and couldn't recover for a long time. Wasn't it said that Mo Qingyun was a coward? The Jinxing Palace's strength wasn't any weaker than the thousand-language manor. Why wasn't Mo Qingyun afraid at all? At this moment, the surroundings were quiet. Even the sound of breathing could be heard clearly. After a brief moment of silence, the surroundings burst into an uproar. Everyone was whispering to each other. Like I said, how could Mo Qingyun be a coward? Look, he's still as hot-tempered as ever. That's right. Fight them. Don't be a coward. Last time, we didn't get into a fight with the thousand-language manor. This time, we must go head-to-head with the Gold Punishment Palace. Mo Qingyun seems to be too ruthless. He beat Jin Wei so badly that he can't get up. It'll be awkward if he can't get out. Isn't that simple? Mo Qingyun gave him another palm strike and sent him flying. Haha, I'm delighted to see this. Mo Qingyun, deal with him. The crowd jeered incessantly. Hearing the jeers of the crowd, Mo Qingyun looked at Jin Wei and realized that he had been a little too heavy-handed. I seem to have hit him a little too hard. Looking at Jin Wei lying on the ground, Mo Qingyun smiled awkwardly. He waved his hand at Jin Wei. Since you can't get out, I'll send you on your way. An astonishing palm strike blasted out from Mo Qingyun's hand and landed on Jin Wei's body. Under Mo Qingyun's palm strike, Jin Wei was sent flying and fell on the city road like trash. Young Master Jin Wei, how are you? Seeing Jin Wei being sent flying, the Gold Punishment Palace's people rushed over to check on his injuries. Seeing that Jin Wei was still breathing, the Jinxing Palace members breathed a sigh of relief and hurriedly lifted him up. Brat, you injured our young master Jin Wei. Just you wait. The people of the Gold Punishment Palace left behind some harsh word. Then, like stray dogs, they hurriedly carried Jin Wei and left. From the looks of it, they were afraid that Mo Qingyun would catch up to them if they were even a moment too slow. Mo Qingyun didn't chase after Jin Wei and the others as they left. He waved his hand indifferently at the crowd and said, All right, the matter is settled. You may continue. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he ignored the crowd and turned to walk into the treasure pavilion. As soon as Mo Qingyun turned to leave, a commotion broke out outside the precious treasures pavilion. For Mo Qingyun's domineering attitude, I must join the precious treasures pavilion. Nonsense, you don't need to tell me that. If we join the precious treasures pavilion, who will dare bully us in the future? If we join the Precious Treasures Pavilion now, we'll be senior figures. We'll be the only ones who can bully others. While you're talking, I've already registered my name. For a moment, everyone was in high spirits and eagerly joined the Precious Treasure Pavilion. In their opinion, if they followed someone like Emo Chinyun, they wouldn't have to worry about being bullied. After a while, the chief steward waved his hand at the crowd and picked up the registration scroll. "All right, we've recruited 50 people. This recruitment will end here," he said solemnly. When they heard the chief steward's words, those who hadn't been registered immediately looked disappointed. "No way? 50 people? You've recruited 50 people so quickly?" "Chief Steward, please bend the rules and recruit a few more people." "Chief Steward, I only want 80% of my pay. Can you take me in as well?" Some people who hadn't been selected were unwillingly fighting for their spots, hoping that they would be recruited as an exception. Unfortunately, the chief steward shook his head helplessly at their pleas. "I'm sorry, Mr. Mo has already done the calculations. The Precious Treasures Pavilion only needs 50 people." When they heard the chief steward's words, everyone's expressions immediately fell. Intense disappointment appeared on their faces. They knew that since Emo Chinyun had said so, he definitely wouldn't recruit more people. Seeing the disappointment on everyone's faces, the chief steward's expression changed. "Everyone, don't blame me for not being selected this time. In my opinion, it won't be long before Mr. Mo opens another branch. It won't be too late for you to come then." When they heard the chief steward's words, everyone's eyes immediately lit up. Anticipation flashed in their eyes. Jinxing Palace. While the recruitment at the Precious Treasures Pavilion was in full swing, Jean Wei and the others returned to the Jinxing Palace. After the journey back, Jean Wei had already woken up. His expression was extremely gloomy. Originally, he had gone to the Precious Treasures Pavilion to use Emo Chinyun to establish his authority. In the end, he had been trampled on by Emo Chinyun. He couldn't take this lying down. He really couldn't accept this change in status. Soon, Jean Wei arrived at the meeting hall of the Jinxing Palace with the help of others. "Ah Wei, what happened to you?" Seeing Jean Wei's miserable state, the palace lord of the Jinxing Palace, Jean Renhe, asked with concern. When Jean Renhe asked, a hint of viciousness appeared in his eyes. Jean Wei was the young lord of the Jinxing Palace. Beating him up so badly was tantamount to challenging the Jinxing Palace. Chapter 21-24. Emo Chinyun? Does he have the guts? Like Jean Wei, Jean Renhe had also heard the rumor that Emo Chinyun was a coward. That was why he was so surprised. In his opinion, since Emo Chinyun knew Jean Wei's identity, he shouldn't have the guts to attack Jean Wei. Seeing Jean Renhe's reaction, Jean Wei's face was filled with bitterness. His heart was filled with mixed feelings. He knew that Jean Renhe had also been deceived by the rumor. He really thought that Emo Chinyun was a coward. If it weren't for this rumor, he wouldn't have suffered such a loss. "Father, the rumor can't be trusted." Jean Wei looked like he wanted to cry but had no tears to shed. He said gloomily, "If Emo Chinyun is a coward, then there is no one in this world who is brave enough to do so. That guy's courage is so great that he's about to reach the heavens." "Oh, so that's how it is." After listening to Jean Wei's explanation, Jean Renhe nodded in understanding. His expression gradually turned cold as he said, "No matter how bold Emo Chinyun is, he dared to hurt my son. He must pay a price for it." As Jean Renhe's words fell, he stood up and said to an elder beside him, "Di Fun, immediately gather the men and follow me to the Precious Treasure Pavilion." "Yes, Palace Master." Hearing Jean Renhe's order, the old man named Di Fun immediately went to gather the men. In a short while, Di Fun gathered a group of men and gathered in front of Jean Renhe. Di Fun's team was very strong. There were 3 intermediate Saint Realm experts and 11 early Saint Realm experts. Adding Di Fun and Jean Renhe, 2 Saint Realm experts, Such a strong team was enough to contend with any force in Thousand Language City. Let's go. After gathering the men, Jean Renhe didn't waste any more time and immediately left the Jinxing Palace with his men. Seeing Jean Renhe's action, Jean Wei immediately sneered and followed the group back to the treasure pavilion. Not long after, Jean Renhe arrived at the treasure pavilion under the guidance of Jean Wei and the others. Seeing the arrival of Jean Renhe and the others, the guests in the treasure pavilion immediately showed expressions of awe and fear. Then, they left the pavilion of treasures and gave the place to Jean Renhe and the others. Jean Renhe personally brought people here. It seems that Emo Qingyun injuring Jean Wei has really angered him. The troops that Jean Renhe has brought can be considered to have turned out in full force. I wonder if Emo Qingyun can contend against them. I think it's a little difficult. Will Emo Qingyun choose to compromise under this kind of pressure? Compromise my ass. In my opinion, Emo Qingyun will definitely go against them. That's right, let's fight. Everyone came out of the precious treasure pavilion and surrounded the entrance with expectant looks on their faces. Obviously, these guys weren't afraid of things getting out of hand. They couldn't wait for Emo Qingyun and Jean Renhe to fight. Under everyone's gaze, Jean Renhe sat down in the main hall of the treasure pavilion and shouted with a dark expression, "Emo Qingyun is there. Tell him to come out and see me. If he doesn't know how to scram, I can have someone teach him to scram." Jean Renhe's words were clearly giving him a taste of his own medicine. He was using the same method to deal with Emo Qingyun. Seeing Jean Renhe and the others arrive, the head steward didn't dare to delay and immediately went to pass on the message to Emo Qingyun. With the attitude of Jean Renhe and the others, he didn't dare to go up and say anything and make himself uncomfortable. Not long after, the head steward came back to the room and said with a tense expression, "Mr. Mo, bad news. The Jinxing Palace people are here again. It seems that I went too easy on them just now. They actually dare to come for revenge." Hearing the head steward's words, Emo Qingyun's lips curled up slightly. He stood up from the chair and said, "If that's the case, I won't be merciful this time. I'll teach them a lesson." As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he walked out of the room and prepared to meet Jean Renhe and the others. "Mr. Emo, it's not like what you think. The situation is much more serious than you think." Seeing Emo Qingyun's relaxed expression, the head steward became anxious. He hurriedly reminded Emo Qingyun and said, "The people who have come to the treasure pavilion are the palace lord of the Jinxing Palace, Jean Renhe, and many saints of the Jinxing Palace." "Jean Renhe is here?" Emo Qingyun's expression froze. He was a little surprised by this situation. He didn't expect to meet Jean Renhe so soon. He originally thought that if he wanted to meet Jean Renhuan and negotiate, he would need Qian Yulong's recommendation. It's good to meet him early. It'll be easier to negotiate when the time comes. Emo Qingyun didn't care about Jean Renhe's arrival. He quickly felt relieved. In his opinion, before negotiating with Jean Renhe, he should teach them a lesson first. It would save him a lot of trouble when the time came. Sigh. Seeing that Emo Qingyun wasn't moved at all, the head steward sighed and didn't say anything else. He directly led the way in front. After a while, Emo Qingyun and the others arrived at the main hall and saw Jean Renhe and the others who came with ill intentions. "Dad, that kid is Emo Qingyun." Seeing Emo Qingyun and the others arrive, Jean Wei's face immediately darkened. He raised his hand and pointed at Emo Qingyun. Following the direction of Jean Wei's finger, Jean Renhe saw Emo Qingyun. His eyes immediately turned cold and he shouted, "Kid, you've got guts. How dare you touch my son? How many lives do you have for me to take?" "I've always been gutsy." Emo Qingyun's expression did not change in response to Jean Renhe's question. He replied very casually before adding, "On the other hand, you've got guts. You've come to provoke me time and time again. Do you think I won't kill you?" Jean Renhe became stunned when he heard Emo Qingyun's words. His eyes narrowed slightly. Afterwards, he studied Mo Qingyun seriously, as if he wanted to see through Mo Qingyun. He suddenly discovered that this Mo Qingyun in front of him was too different from the rumors. Was this guy really that gutless? What a joke. Even the patriarch of the 1,000-language manor, Qian Yulong, probably wasn't as gutsy as him. Jin Renhe discovered this and stopped looking down on Mo Qingyun. He could not help but tense up. Kid, this is the first time someone has spoken to me like that in 1,000-language city. To prevent something like this from happening again, I can only make an example out of you. Attack. Jin Renhe did not waste any more words. He immediately ordered the experts of the Gold Punishment Palace to attack. After receiving Jin Renhe's order, the experts of the Gold Punishment Palace quickly surrounded Mo Qingyun and the others. Seeing the actions of the experts of the Gold Punishment Palace, Qian Linglong's pretty face turned cold. She released a powerful aura. Sage. Sage Realm Advanced Stage. Sensing Qian Linglong's aura, Jin Renhe's expression immediately trembled and his pupils shrank. The woman beside Mo Qingyun was actually a Sage Realm Advanced Stage expert. This was something he did not know. Chapter 21-25. While Jin Renhe was still in a daze, Qian Linglong waved her hand and blasted out a terrifying saint power. The saint power blasted out from Qian Linglong's palm and turned into a shadow that blasted towards the experts of the Gold Element Palace. Faced with Qian Linglong's attack, the experts of the Gold Element Palace paled and hurriedly used all their strength to resist. However, the gap between their strength and Qian Linglong's was too big. Bang bang bang! Under Qian Linglong's attack, the experts of the Gold Element Palace were immediately blasted away. Seeing such a scene, the people outside the treasure pavilion were so shocked that their eyes widened. The woman beside Mo Qingyun is so strong. She knocked down the experts of the Gold Element Palace in one move. No wonder Mo Qingyun is so arrogant. He has such an expert by his side. Why do I feel that Mo Qingyun is stronger than that beauty? You must be mistaken. If Mo Qingyun is stronger, how strong would he be? Who cares what force he is from? What I want to see the most is a fight, a fight. Seeing Qian Linglong's strength, the surrounding people were envious and admired Mo Qingyun even more. While the crowd was still in shock, Jin Wei's face was filled with madness and disbelief. He said, "No. Impossible. He's just a 9 heavens Xian immortal. How can he have so many experts following him?" Hearing Jin Wei's words, Jin Renhe's heart thumped as he thought of a terrible situation. Mo Qingyun didn't have this ability. This meant that the force behind him was so strong that these experts were willing to submit to him. How strong was this force to be able to make late-stage Saint Realm experts submit? Even the Dark Devil clan couldn't do it. Jin Renhe forced himself to calm down and glanced at Qian Linglong with fear. He said, Mo Qingyun, although she's a late-stage Saint Realm expert, she may not be able to do anything to me if I go all out. As for Jing Ping and the others behind you, they can't stop my subordinate. Hearing Jin Renhe's words, Mo Qingyun grinned and didn't refute Jin Renhe's words. Then, an aura stronger than Qian Linglong appeared beside Mo Qingyun. Another Saint Realm expert. Sensing Mo Qingyun's aura, Jin Renhe's body trembled and his face turned pale. At this moment, he wanted to slap himself. Who said that Mo Qingyun couldn't do anything to them? Mermaid. Seeing the sky-devouring mermaid empress, Jin Renhe recognized her origin. His eyes flashed with intense shock. He had read about the rumors of mermaids in ancient books. According to the records, the merfolk's ancient times, the mermenzes the ancient era. It's a mermenzes mermens jins. His says. Looking at the shocked Jin Renhe, Mo Qingyun had a faint smile on his face as he asked unhurriedly, "What is it?" Under Mo Qingyun's gaze, Jin Renhe felt as if he was a little lamb being stared at by a ferocious tiger. More importantly, if Qian Linglong and the King Devourer worked together, they could kill them in one round. Thinking of this, Jean Renha's face immediately turned ugly. His mind quickly turned. Jean Renha pondered for a moment, then his eyes lit up as he thought of an idea. Mo Qingyun, you're already an expert. What's the point of relying on women? Jean Renha glanced at Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong with a disdainful expression, showing his disdain for Mo Qingyun. Seeing Jean Renha's actions, King Devourer's face immediately turned cold. He shouted angrily, "Against a small fry like you, there's no need for Master to do anything. Just leave it to me." Master? Hearing King Devourer's words, Jean Renha's eyelids twitched. He knew the meaning of the word master. This meant that King Devourer and the others were Mo Qingyun's own subordinates. This meant that Mo Qingyun's battle prowess didn't come from his faction. The meaning behind this was different. His Jins, you're also an expert. What's the point of using such a low-level provocation? Hearing Jean Renha's words, Mo Qingyun immediately guessed what he was thinking. He knew that Jean Renha was trying to provoke him. Do you think that I, a 9 Heavens Xian immortal, will fight with you, a peak middle stage Saint Realm expert? Under Mo Qingyun's questioning, Jean Renha's old face turned red, and he felt embarrassed. With his peak middle stage Saint Realm cultivation, it was indeed too shameless for him to fight with a 9 Heavens Xian immortal. While Jean Renha was feeling embarrassed, Mo Qingyun changed the topic and said with a smile, "Although I know that you're trying to provoke me, I still fell for your trick. Under your provocation, I really decided to fight with you." "You know that I'm trying to provoke you, but you still decided to fight with me?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Jean Renha suddenly felt that his brain was not enough. What kind of logic is this? Is Mo Qingyun stupid? Seeing Jean Renha's reaction, Qian Linglong and the others shook their heads without saying a word. Their eyes flashed with sympathy. If he knew Mo Qingyun's true strength, he would not think this way. Of course, Qian Linglong and the others would not say anything about this. Seeing the reaction of Qian Linglong and the others, Jean Renha's heart skipped a beat. He faintly felt that something was wrong. The situation seemed to be very different from what he had imagined. "What? You don't dare?" Looking at the hesitant Jean Renha, Mo Qingyun smiled contemptuously and provoked Jean Renha. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Jean Renha was furious. No matter what tricks Mo Qingyun was playing, he was an expert at the peak of the intermediate Saint Realm. How could he be scared by a 9 Heavens mysterious immortal? "Kid, you asked for it. I didn't want to bully you." Jean Renha's face darkened. He directly blasted his palm toward Mo Qingyun. Majestic saint energy gathered in his palm. Sacred river, forbidden spirit palm. The saint energy converged and turned into streams that swirled toward Mo Qingyun. Under the cover of these streams, everyone immediately realized that it was many times more difficult to circulate the energy in their bodies. Heavenly Demon Star-splitting palm. Facing the sacred river forbidden spirit palm, Mo Qingyun did not dare to be careless. He immediately circulated the creation energy in his body. The creation energy was of a higher level than the immortal spiritual energy and saint energy. It was not affected by Jean Renha's palm energy. A terrifying creation energy quickly gathered in Mo Qingyun's palm and turned into a huge black palm. The giant black palm was formed, and with a momentum that covered the sky, it crushed down toward Jean Renha. So strong. Seeing the power of Mo Qingyun's palm, Jean Renha's expression immediately changed and his body trembled. He truly did not expect that Mo Qingyun's strength would be strong to such an extent. This was a little unreasonable. Chapter 21-26. Puff puff puff. Under the attack of Mo Qingyun's palm, the stream of saint energy that enveloped him was instantly dispersed. The giant black palm destroyed the stream of saint energy. Its attack power did not diminish and continued to suppress Jean Renha. Looking at the rapidly approaching giant black palm, Jean Renha did not dare to hesitate and hurriedly raised his hand to block it. However, Jean Renha's combat strength was limited in his haste. He could not block the giant black palm at all. It could not be helped. Even Zgang, who was in the later stage of Saint Realm, could not block Emo Qingyun's palm, let alone Jean Renha. Bang! Under Emo Qingyun's palm, Jean Renha was directly sent flying and fell heavily on the ground. Seeing such a scene, everyone was stunned as if they were petrified. Even a powerful existence like Jean Renha could not block Emo Qingyun's palm. Was there anything more shocking than this? The guy who said that Emo Qingyun is a coward and is afraid of Thousand Language Mansion stepped forward now. With Emo Qingyun's strength, would he be afraid of Thousand Language Mansion? Emo Qingyun disdains to be calculative with Thousand Language Mansion. This is more like it. Emo Qingyun's strength is so strong. Joining Bird Song Flower Fragrance Treasure Pavilion made the right bet. Seeing the strength that Emo Qingyun displayed, everyone's expression was agitated, and they started to discuss from the side. Compared to other people's feelings, Jean Wei's current feelings were like a bottle of mixed feelings that had been knocked over. He did not expect that even his father was not a match for Emo Qingyun. This time, he kicked an iron plate. Under everyone's shocked gaze, Emo Qingyun slowly walked toward Jean Renha and said with a smile, "Palace Master Jean, you're too polite. You actually took the initiative to let me hit you." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Jean Renha was immediately stunned. His brain could not wrap itself around it. Did he let Emo Qingyun go? While Jean Renha was still in a daze, the others immediately understood why Jean Renha had been sent flying. It turned out that in the exchange just now, Jean Renha did not use his true strength, but let Emo Qingyun hit him with a palm. "Palace Lord, there's no need to be courteous with this brat. Just teach him a lesson." "That's right. This isn't a fair fight. There's no need to go easy on him. Brat, our Palace Lord doesn't want to bully the weak. Just now, he intentionally let you hit him. Now you have to be careful." At this moment, the experts of the Gold Punishment Palace were all feeling indignant. Looking at the performance of the Gold Punishment Palace, Jean Renha's mood became gloomy to the extreme. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Others might not know, but how could he not know? In the exchange just now, he didn't give in to Emo Qingyun at all. Instead, he was sent flying by Emo Qingyun. Even if he fought Emo Qingyun again, the result would still be the same. He would be crushed by Emo Qingyun. The difference in strength between him and Emo Qingyun was not just a little bit big. He had no chance of winning. This brat deliberately said that I let him hit me. Could it be that he's worried about admitting defeat and not fighting? Just as Jean Renha was feeling gloomy, he suddenly had a flash of inspiration. He understood the intention of Emo Qingyun's words. Guessing Emo Qingyun's thoughts, Jean Renha's body trembled. His expression immediately darkened. This brat is terrifyingly scheming. Unknowingly, I actually fell into his trap. I'm in a situation where I can't back down. Jean Renha knew very well that Emo Qingyun had raised him so high. If he still avoided the fight, he would have no face left in the future. A man lives by his face, a tree lives by its bark. He couldn't lose this face. Looking at the gloomy and silent Jean Renha, Emo Qingyun said with a faint smile, "Palace Lord Jean, you've already let me hit you. Now let's fight with all our strength." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Jean Renha was immediately furious. His face immediately flushed red. In his opinion, Emo Qingyun was doing this on purpose. He was deliberately trying to anger him. Without waiting for Jean Renha to refute, Emo Qingyun pretended to be surprised. He looked at Jean Renha and said in shock, "Palace Lord Jean, I only used 10% of my strength in that hit. Don't tell me you don't have the strength to fight after taking that hit from me? 10%? 10% your sister." If it weren't for his identity, Jean Renha would have cursed out loud when he heard Emo Qingyun's words. Just now, Mo Qingyun's hit almost took his life. Even if it wasn't 100%, it was at least 80 to 90%. Suppressing the anger in his heart, Jin Renhe stopped talking nonsense. He knew that he couldn't win against Mo Qingyun. If he continued to talk, he was afraid that Mo Qingyun wouldn't even need to make a move. His words alone would anger him to death. Netherworld River Palm. Jin Renhe's palms moved quickly, pushing out waves of powerful saint energy that turned into a wide blood-red river. The blood-red river was formed like a blood-red waterfall, pouring down towards Mo Qingyun. In the impact of the blood-red waterfall, bull-headed ghost soldiers emerged one after another, waving their weapons and slashing at Mo Qingyun. The strength of these bull-headed ghost soldiers was comparable to a Saint Realm expert. It made people's expression change. Palace Lord's Netherworld River Palm is more powerful than before. With the power of Palace Lord's Palm, even an ordinary late-stage Saint Realm expert might not be able to take it. Mo Qingyun's strength is only comparable to an ordinary late-stage Saint Realm expert. In my opinion, he definitely won't be able to take it. Let's see how arrogant he can be after he's sent flying by Palace Lord's Palm. He's just a guy who only knows how to rely on women. Seeing Jin Renhe make a move, the experts of the Gold Punishment Palace all became excited. They never thought that Mo Qingyun's current strength was only at the first level of the 9 Heavens Xian Immortal Realm. 9x9 Heavenly Demon God Slaughtering Sword Formation. Facing Jin Renhe's full-strength palm, he immediately took out 81 ancient swords and formed a sword formation. Once the sword formation was formed, rays of sword light were derived and slashed at the bull-headed ghost soldiers. Clang! 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 The sword light and the bull-headed ghost soldiers clashed, creating a series of crisp sounds, forming a fierce battle scene. For a moment, Mo Qingyun and Jin Renhe fell into a stalemate situation. Neither of them could do anything to the other. Looking at the scene before him, Jin Renhe's expression loosened, and his hanging heart was put down. He didn't seek to defeat Mo Qingyun. He only wanted to tie with Mo Qingyun and give himself a way out. Before Jin Renhe could relax, a threatening gaze shot at him overbearingly. He has such an innate ability. Looking at the rapidly approaching light, Jin Renhe's eyelids twitched, and he was so frightened that his soul almost left his body. If he were to be hit, he would definitely die. His little life would end here. Although he knew the result would be like this, the speed of the light was too fast. In addition, he was too close to Mo Qingyun, so he didn't have the chance to dodge. In his panic, Jin Renhe's body instinctively dodged, avoiding his vital parts. Poochie! The light flashed and domineeringly penetrated Jin Renhe's left shoulder, sending him flying. Seeing Jin Renhe being sent flying again, everyone was stunned. They couldn't believe what they saw. Jin Renhe was defeated again. Moreover, it was under the condition that he didn't give in. Chapter 21-27. Palace Lord was still defeated by Mo Qingyun. How could it be like this? Doesn't this mean that Mo Qingyun's true strength is above Palace Lord's? Mo Qingyun is really strong. Even if Jin Renhe fought with all his strength, he still wasn't his opponent. I knew it. Mo Qingyun definitely won't lose. He's a professional face-slapping expert. That's right. Those who came to challenge him didn't get any advantage. Seeing Jin Renhe defeated, everyone's mood was different. They all sighed with emotion. After sending Jin Renhe flying with one blow, Mo Qingyun didn't make another move. He slowly walked towards Jin Renhe. Palace Lord Jin, you let me hit you just now, causing your strength to not be at its peak. This time, I won with an unfair advantage. Go back and rest for a few days. We'll fight another day. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Jin Renhe almost fainted. A scene of 10,000 alpacas running through his mind appeared. Fight? Fight your sister? Are you trying to bully me on purpose? Although he was depressed, Jean Renhe didn't show it. He just smiled awkwardly. In any case, Emo Qingyun's words gave him a way out of this embarrassing situation. Let's go. Jean Renhe got up with difficulty. He didn't talk nonsense with Emo Qingyun and directly waved his hand to his subordinate. After Jean Renhe's words, he no longer hesitated. He turned around and left with his tail between his legs. Seeing Jean Renhe's actions, everyone from Jinxing Palace was stunned. Their minds couldn't recover for a long time. With Jean Renhe's temper, he wouldn't let it go so easily after suffering such a big loss. For a moment, the experts of the Gold Punishment Palace all looked at each other. After a short moment of shock, the experts from Jinxing Palace left with Jean Renhe. Although they didn't understand why Jean Renhe's personality had changed, they didn't ask. As long as they weren't idiots, they could clearly see that Jean Renhe was in a terrible mood. Emo Qingyun didn't stop Jean Renhe and the others from leaving. He just smiled meaningfully. In any case, it wouldn't be long before he would meet Jean Renhe again. There would be plenty of opportunities to deal with them. The people from the Gold Punishment Palace have left. It seems that they have admitted defeat. Emo Qingyun is still the best. From today onwards, let's see who dares to call Emo Qingyun a coward. A bunch of fools. Emo Qingyun doesn't want to bother with the thousand-language manner. How could he be afraid of them? After this incident, everyone's impression of Emo Qingyun underwent a 360-degree change. Jean Renhe left just like that? Seeing the people from the Gold Punishment Palace leave, the head manager was stunned. He felt that everything was a little unreal. The menacing Jean Renhe and his men were beaten up for nothing and left with their tails between their legs. This was not their style of doing things. At this moment, Emo Qingyun's image in the chief steward's heart instantly soared. Regarding everyone's thoughts, Emo Qingyun didn't pay attention to it. Raising his hand, he pointed to the surroundings and said, "Head manager, you bring people to tidy up this place and accept guests again." When Emo Qingyun's words fell, he walked into the precious treasure pavilion and continued to instruct Zheng Ping two people. Yes. Hearing Emo Qingyun's instructions, the chief steward immediately responded and brought people to clean up the precious treasure pavilion's main hall. Before long, the precious treasure pavilion's main hall was cleaned up. Everything returned to normal. When the precious treasure pavilion returned to normal, Jean Renhe and the others returned to the Gold Punishment Palace. Gold Punishment Palace, inside the assembly hall. "Dad, are we just going to let this matter go like this?" Looking at Jean Renhe at the top of the assembly hall, Jean Wei's expression was gloomy as he uttered these words. He had run amok in the thousand-language city for many years, but he had never suffered so much like this time. Hearing Jean Wei's words, Jean Renhe's expression was equally ugly. He said in a helpless tone, "What else can we do? That brat's true strength is comparable to a late Sage Realm expert. In addition, he has 2 late Sage Realm experts helping him. This kind of strength isn't something we can contend with." Although Jean Wei was unwilling to accept this, he could only choose to remain silent after hearing Jean Renhe's words. There was no other way. The gap between their strength and Emo Qingyun's wasn't ordinary. Emo Qingyun isn't someone we can provoke. It's better not to offend him in the future. Seeing that Jean Wei was still unwilling to accept this, Jean Renhe sighed and persuaded him. He said, "It's already very fortunate that we were able to keep our lives this time. We won't be so lucky next time." Hearing Jean Renhe's words, Jean Wei nodded in agreement and didn't refute. If they had offended a bloodthirsty person, they would have been killed long ago. At this moment, while Jean Renhe and the others were talking, an old man walked in with a tense expression. "Palace Master, the people from Thousand Language Mansion are here." The old man walked into the main hall and reported to Jean Renhe with a solemn expression. Hearing the old man's words, Jean Renhe's face turned ugly. He was so angry that he gritted his teeth and said, These guys from the Thousand Language Mansion really know how to pick the time. They actually came to negotiate at this time. Looks like they're taking advantage of the situation. In Jean Renha's opinion, Thousand Language Mansion and the others were clearly trying to take advantage of the fact that they were severely injured to make them hesitate. Elderly D, bring them to the side hall first. I will meet them later. Jean Renha remained silent for a while before he instructed the old man. He then turned around and left the hall. When Jean Renha left the hall, Qian Yulong and the others were brought to the side hall to wait for Jean Renha to meet them. This Jean Renha is getting more and more arrogant. He actually arranged for us to meet in the side hall. Seeing that he and the others were brought to the side hall, an elder of Thousand Language Mansion immediately expressed a strong dissatisfaction. The way he saw it, Jean Renha's action was simply going too far. Hearing the elder's words, Qian Yulong and the others were displeased. They must have thought the same in their hearts. Next, Qian Yulong and the others waited for Jean Renha to come and negotiate with them. However, what made Qian Yulong and the others furious was that Jean Renha didn't show up even after waiting for a few hours. Humph! Is this the way Jinxing Palace entertains guests? Or is Jean Renha too afraid to show up? After waiting for a few hours without seeing anyone, everyone from Thousand Language Mansion was displeased and loudly vented the dissatisfaction in their hearts. While Qian Yulong and the others were displeased, Jean Renha arrived late and said with a faint smile, "Everyone, I only made you wait for a while. Why are you so angry?" "Humph! Palace Master Jean, you are really arrogant. You made us wait for a long time." Qian Yulong's face darkened when he saw Jean Renha's arrival. He said unhappily, "We didn't come here today to bicker with you. I wanted to tell you that there will be someone who will slowly discuss the matter of controlling Qian Yu City with you later." "I'm sorry. It's useless to discuss the division of benefits in Thousand Language City." Hearing Qian Yulong's words, Jean Renha's face turned solemn and he retorted with a strong attitude. Chapter 21-28. Palace Master Jean, don't be so absolute. Otherwise, you might end up slapping yourself in the face. Qian Yulong chuckled when he saw Jean Renha's attitude. His expression was full of mockery. In Qian Yulong's opinion, Jean Renha would not say that when he met Mo Qingyun. With Mo Qingyun's strong attitude, he would never tolerate Jean Renha's arrogance in front of him. Family head Qian Yulong, are you done? Jean Renha's attitude did not change in the face of Qian Yulong's warning. He said with an impatient expression, "If you are done, you can leave now. Forgive me for not seeing you off." Jean Renha, don't be too arrogant. That's right. If we really fight, you won't have it easy either. At most, we'll fight to the death. You won't have it easy either. Seeing Jean Renha's arrogant attitude, the elders of Qian Yu Manor immediately scolded him unhappily. Qian Yulong was calm when he saw the reactions of the people around him. He raised his hand to stop them. The elders of the Thousand Language Mansion were unwilling to give up when they saw Qian Yulong blocking their way. Buddha strives for an incense stick while man strives for a breath. Jean Renha's attitude was so arrogant and overbearing that they could not tolerate it. After stopping the elders of Qian Yu Manor, Qian Yulong's smile widened. He looked at Jean Renha meaningfully and said, "Palace Master Jean, don't you want to know who will be negotiating with you next?" "Not interested." Jean Renha was in a hurry to treat his injuries and did not want to talk nonsense with Qian Yulong. He rejected him and said, "Family head Qian Yulong, if you're here to threaten me today, I can only apologize to you. I, Jean Renha, am not someone who can be intimidated." "Elderly D, send them off." After Jean Renha said that, he ignored Qian Yulong and the rest and asked Elderly D to chase them away. After instructing Elderly D, Jean Renha turned and left, leaving Qian Yulong and the rest on the spot. "Jean Renha, you've gone too far. I'll fight it out with you." "Humph! Fight it out with them. Let them know the consequences of being arrogant." "Patriarch, The people of the Gold Punishment Palace are too arrogant. We can't let them do as they please. Looking at Jinrenha, who turned around and left, the elders of the Thousand Language Manor were immediately enraged. Each and every one of them rubbed their fists. Seeing the actions of the people around him, Qian Yulong stopped them again and said with a faint smile, "Don't worry. Let him be proud for a while. Someone will take care of him later." Hearing Thousand Words Long's words, the Thousand Words Mansion's elders immediately understood and revealed brilliant smiles. That's right. How could they forget about Mo Qingyun? If Mo Qingyun came, would Jinrenha not obediently submit? When everyone thought of this, they were no longer angry. Instead, they were filled with anticipation. "Everyone, please!" Li Di did not know what Qian Yulong and the others were thinking. He received Jinrenha's order and made an inviting gesture to everyone. Subsequently, Qian Yulong and the others left the Gold Punishment Palace under Li Di's escort. After Qian Yulong and the others left the Gold Punishment Palace, they headed straight for the Precious Treasure Pavilion without stopping. Outside the Precious Treasure Pavilion, the arrival of Qian Yulong and the others immediately attracted everyone's attention, causing their expressions to tense up. "Qian, the people from the Thousand Language Manor are here. Are they here to cause trouble for Mo Qingyun?" "That's not impossible. Perhaps they are here to cause trouble for Mo Qingyun after dealing with the Dark Demon tribe. The people from the Thousand Language Manor are coming aggressively. Will Mo Qingyun be able to resist them? What do you know? How can these people from the Thousand Language Manor be a match for Mo Qingyun?" "That's right. If they dare to be arrogant, they will end up like the people from the Gold Punishment Palace." Seeing the arrival of Qian Linglong and the others, the people in the Precious Treasure Pavilion started whispering to each other. Under everyone's gaze, Qian Yulong found the Chief Steward and said respectfully, "Chief Steward, may I trouble you to pass a message to us? Tell them that we are looking for Mr. Mo. Weren't they here to cause trouble? Why were they so friendly?" Seeing the behavior of Qian Yulong and the others, the Chief Steward was stunned. He couldn't wrap his head around it. Previously, he had seen Mo Qingyun attack Qian Yuhao with his own eyes. He knew that Mo Qingyun had a feud with the Thousand Language Manor because of that. Logically speaking, the people from the Thousand Language Manor should be here to take revenge for Qian Yuhao. However, their attitude was so friendly. This didn't make sense. "Everyone, please wait for a moment. I'll pass the message to you now." Although the Chief Steward didn't understand the intentions of Qian Yulong and the others, he didn't dare to hesitate. He immediately went to pass the message to Mo Qingyun. After a while, the Chief Steward told Mo Qingyun about the arrival of Qian Yulong and the others. Their efficiency is quite high. After hearing the Chief Steward's message, Mo Qingyun knew the purpose of Qian Yulong and the others' visit. If he wasn't wrong, Qian Yulong and the others should be looking for him to negotiate with Jinrenha. "Mr. Mo, the matter has been arranged. Shall we go over now?" Seeing Mo Qingyun in front of him, Qian Yulong looked respectful and quickly bowed to Mo Qingyun. Hearing Qian Yulong's question, Mo Qingyun nodded and walked out of the treasure pavilion. He said, "Lead the way. We're going to the Jinxing Palace now." Then, Mo Qingyun rushed to the Jinxing Palace with Qian Yulong and the others leading the way. After Mo Qingyun and the others were far away, the people in the treasure pavilion recovered from their shock. "Did I see wrongly? The people from the Thousand Language Manor are looking for Mo Qingyun. It seems like they have something to ask of him." It turns out that the people from the Thousand Language Manor didn't come to find trouble with Mo Qingyun. They came to ask for his help. Looking at Qian Yulong just now, he seems to be very respectful and afraid of Mo Qingyun. I knew it. How could Mo Qingyun be afraid of the Thousand Language Manor? Do you believe me now? Looking at Mo Qingyun's current situation, it seems like he's looking for someone to fight. I wonder who's the unlucky one now. Seeing that Emo Qinyun had already walked far away, the people in the treasure pavilion began to whisper to each other. Although they were curious, they didn't chase after him and continued to pick things in the treasure pavilion. After a while, Emo Qinyun arrived in front of the Jinxing Palace with Qian, Yulong and the others leading the way. Ask Jin Renhe to come out and see me. With Emo Qinyun accompanying him, Qian Yulong felt a lot more confident. He ordered in a cold tone. Hearing Qian Yulong's order, the gatekeeper of the Jinxing Palace immediately went to pass the message. After a while, Li Di, who received Qian Yulong and the others, came in front of Emo Qinyun and the others and said, Master Qian Yulong, the palace master has already gone into seclusion to cultivate. You should go back. Chapter 21-29. Humph. Who does Jin Renhe think he is? Mr. Mo isn't someone who can disappear just because he says so. Seeing Jin Renhe's attitude, Qian Yulong's face immediately darkened. He shouted angrily at Li Di, This is none of your business. Get out of my way right now. As soon as Qian Yulong's words fell, he blasted a palm at Li Di, directly pushing Li Di back. After pushing Li Di back with a palm, Qian Yulong showed a respectful expression. He bowed to Emo Qinyun and said, Mr. Mo, let's enter the Jinxing Palace first. I believe Jin Renhe will come out soon. Okay. Emo Qinyun nodded at Qian Yulong's suggestion and walked into the Jinxing Palace unhurriedly. Seeing Emo Qinyun and the others enter the Jinxing Palace, Li Di's expression shook. He hurriedly went to pass a message to Jin Renhe. He knew very well that the current situation was no longer under his control. After a while, Li Di came to Jin Renhe's courtyard and reported the matter of Qian, Yulong and the others. Hearing Li Di's report, Jin Renhe immediately flew into a rage and said coldly, Qian Yulong has more backbone than Qian Yujiang. However, with his little ability, he wants me to confront him head-on. It seems that I have to teach him a lesson. Because he was taught a lesson by Emo Qinyun, a strong resentment arose in Jin Renhe's heart. Now that he was provoked by Qian Yulong, this resentment became even stronger and could no longer be suppressed. Immediately, Jin Renhe no longer hesitated and immediately walked out of the courtyard. After this period of cultivation, the injuries he suffered before were basically stabilized. Even if he fought with Qian Yulong and the others, it wouldn't have too much of an impact and wouldn't hurt his foundation. Li Di, go gather people immediately and follow me to the conference hall. Knowing that Qian Yulong and the others didn't come with good intentions, Jin Renhe didn't dare to be careless and immediately asked Li Di to gather people. Hearing Jin Renhe's order, Li Di immediately went to explain and gathered the powerhouses of the Jinxing Palace. Not long after, Jin Renhe led the Gold Punishment Palace's experts to the conference hall. At this time, Emo Qinyun and the others were already waiting there, leisurely drinking tea and eating pastries. From the looks of it, they seemed to be treating the Gold Punishment Palace as their own backyard. Jin Renhe was already in a bad mood. Seeing the actions of Qian Yu and the others, his mood worsened. He shouted, Qian Yu, I already told you before that it's useless to negotiate. Jin Renhe ignored Qian Yulong and the others and walked to the top of the hall. Therefore, he ignored Emo Qinyun, who was sitting in the middle of Qian Yulong and the others. Presumably, he would never have dreamed that the person who came to negotiate with him was Emo Qinyun. Hearing Jin Renhe's words, the expressions of Qian Yulong and the others changed, looking at Emo Qinyun one after another. Under the gazes of Qian Yulong and the others, Emo Qinyun put down the teacup in his hand and looked at Jin Renhe, who was at the top of the hall, saying, Palace Master Jin, you're so impressive. I wonder if I have this qualification to discuss the matters of Qian Yu City with you? Hearing Emo Qinyun's question, Jin Renhe immediately staggered, almost falling off the chair. Damn it, the person negotiating with him was actually Emo Qinyun, this malefic star. How unlucky was he? Why did he run into Emo Qinyun again? Emo Qingyun. Looking at Emo Qingyun, who was in the middle of Qian Yulong and the others, Jin Renha's complexion alternated between green and white. He cursed Qian Yulong and the others fiercely in his heart. These guys were too shameless to actually get Emo Qingyun here. Seeing Jin Renha's reaction, Qian Yulong and the others were stunned and their hearts were filled with strong doubts. Even if Emo Qingyun was powerful, Jin Renha shouldn't be so afraid when he saw Emo Qingyun. If Qian Yulong and the others knew that not long ago, Emo Qingyun had taught Jin Renha a lesson, they wouldn't be so confused. Palace Master Jin, from the way you spoke just now, you seem to be quite energetic now. Looking at the nervous Qian Yulong, Emo Qingyun smiled faintly and teased him, saying, "Since you've recovered, why don't we spar again? This time, don't go easy on me." Cough, cough, cough. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Jin Renha immediately coughed and almost couldn't catch his breath. Spar again? Spar my ass. Spar with Emo Qingyun. Wasn't that the same as asking for a beating? When Jin Renha thought of this, he quickly shook his head and replied, No, I haven't stabilized my injuries from the spar just now. I'm afraid I can't spar with you again. That's such a pity. Hearing Jin Renha's reply, Emo Qingyun revealed a pitiful expression and shook his head with a sigh. He then said, Since we can't spar, let's get down to business. Now that Thousand Language City is under my control, I don't want any forces that aren't under my control to exist in Thousand Language City. I'll give you a choice now. Either you submit to me, get out of Thousand Language City immediately, or I'll destroy Gold Punishment Palace right now. You can choose one of them. When Emo Qingyun said this, his aura had obviously changed, like a sharp sword that revealed its edge. Under the cover of Emo Qingyun's aura, Jin Renha and the others immediately felt a chill down their spines as they felt an intense killing intent. They were very clear in their hearts that if they dared to say no, their blood would definitely splatter on the spot. As for the second choice, Emo Qingyun asking them to leave Thousand Language City was just fooling children. As the saying goes, let the tiger return to the mountain, cut the weeds and eliminate the root. How could Emo Qingyun make such a mistake? So the Dark Devil clan in Thousand Language City was killed by Emo Qingyun. Looks like Thousand Language Zhang's death is related to him too. For Jin Renha to be able to reach where he was today, it could be seen that he wasn't a fool. He quickly understood the situation in Thousand Language Manor. He knew that with Thousand Language Manor's strength, it was absolutely impossible for them to kill Z-Gang and the others. After understanding the situation in Thousand Language Manor, Jin Renha's mood became even heavier. He was even more aware of his situation. If he didn't submit, he would end up like Thousand Language Jiang. Gold Punishment Palace would also choose a new palace master. I submit to you. Learning from the Thousand Language Manor's mistake, Jin Renha was also very sensible and did not joke around with his own life. No choice, he could not even receive a single move from Emo Qingyun. Wasn't resisting equivalent to seeking death? He suffered plenty in the immortal prison and finally came out from inside with great difficulty. He did not wish to die like this. Jin Renha submitted so easily. Seeing Jin Renha's attitude, Thousand Language Manor and the rest were even more shocked, feeling that this was a little unreal. They knew that with Emo Qingyun taking action, the matter was absolutely foolproof, but they did not think that it would go so smoothly. Chapter 2130. Before you came looking for me, I had a few exchanges with Palace Lord Jin. Seeing that Qian Yulong and the others were puzzled, Emo Qingyun knew what they were thinking. He turned to look at Jin Renha. Because Palace Lord Jin let me hit him, I won by half a move and accidentally hurt him. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Qian Yulong and the others had complicated expressions. They looked at Jin Renha with sympathy. With the intelligence of Qian Yulong and the others, they could naturally guess that Jean Renha must have been taught a lesson. Otherwise, with his domineering personality, how could he submit so obediently? This is because Master is powerful. I am just a clown, showing off in front of Master. Jean Renha was also sensible. Seeing that he had submitted to Mo Qingyun, he immediately spoke to please Mo Qingyun. Of course, what he said was also the truth. His previous actions were indeed like a clown. This matter is over. Don't mention it again. Spreading his hands at Jean Renha, Mo Qingyun changed the topic. He sternly reminded Jean Renha, regarding the matter of Jinxing Palace submitting to me, don't leak it for the time being. I don't want people to know that half of Qianyu City is already under my control. Yes. Hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Jean Renha immediately responded. He didn't dare to have the slightest objection. Next, Mo Qingyun gave everyone a few more instructions, and he left Jinxing Palace. As for the management of Qianyu City, he handed it over to Qian Yulong and the others, and let the two forces divide it among themselves. Now that they were in alliance, there was no conflict of interest. The discussion would be much smoother. Only Heavenly Mandate Tower and Blood Corpse Demon Sect left. Coming out of Jinxing Palace, Missouri Qingyun's heart skipped a beat. He was thinking about what to do next. Mo Qingyun said to himself. He didn't stay and rushed directly to the treasure pavilion. When Mo Qingyun left the Gold Punishment Palace, the news of him repelling the people of the Gold Punishment Palace and making the thousand-language manner respectful spread throughout the thousand-language city. All of a sudden, the rumors of Mo Qingyun being a coward were dispelled. Inside the meeting hall of the Bloodsword sect. I didn't expect this Mo Qingyun to have such terrifying battle strength. Due to his hatred for Mo Qingyun, Chen Huangyi paid close attention to Mo Qingyun's actions. Therefore, as soon as Mo Qingyun's rumor spread, Chen Huangyi received it immediately. Guardian Tian, it's fortunate that you reminded me. Otherwise, I would have been forced into a passive position. Recalling how strong Mo Qingyun was, Chen Huangyi's face was filled with fear as he thanked Tingsha. In his opinion, if he rashly dealt with Mo Qingyun, he would only put himself in danger. Headmaster, you're too polite. It's my duty to think for you. Hearing Chen Huangyi's gratitude, Tingsha smiled coldly and shook his head. He said, as for the ally to deal with Mo Qingyun, I have already found a suitable candidate. You just have to wait and see. You've made progress so quickly? Chen Huangyi's face lit up. His face was filled with anticipation and curiosity. He asked, I wonder which power is the person helping us? Is it the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion or the Blood Corpse Demon Sect? Neither. Tingsha shook his head and denied Chen Huangyi's guess. He said, the ally I found is much stronger than the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion and the Blood Corpse Demon Sect. Don't worry, with their help, Mo Qingyun will definitely die without a burial place. If that's the case, I'll wait and see. Hearing Tingsha's words, Chen Huangyi smiled coldly. The anticipation in his heart grew even stronger. Next, Chen Huangyi and Tingsha discussed the details of how to deal with Mo Qingyun. From their point of view, Mo Qingyun was strong and had many tricks up his sleeve. They could not be careless when dealing with him. Once they failed, there would not be a second chance. They would never be able to avenge Chen Lin and Yi Lingchen. Half an hour later, Mo Qingyun came to the treasure pavilion. He walked directly into the inner hall of the treasure pavilion and saw Xing Ping and the others with serious expressions. Seeing Xing Ping and the others' serious expressions, Mo Qingyun frowned. He was puzzled and asked, what's wrong? What happened? Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Qian Linglong took out a scroll and handed it to Mo Qingyun. Heavenly Mandate. Mo Qingyun took the scroll and saw the words, Heavenly Mandate. He was immediately curious. Could this scroll be related to the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion? Seeing the words, Heavenly Mandate, Mo Qingyun instinctively thought of the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion. He began to read the contents of the scroll. After reading the contents of the scroll, Emo Qingyun's expression turned ugly. His body emitted a murderous aura. The contents of the scroll roughly described that the heavenly mandate pavilion represented the will of the heavens to choose some sacrifices for the heavens. Qian Linglong was one of the chosen sacrifices. If the treasure pavilion did not want to be destroyed, they had to obediently hand over Qian Linglong. The heavenly mandate pavilion is so arrogant. They actually say that they represent the will of the heavens. Closing the scroll in his hand, Emo Qingyun said angrily. He turned to look at Qian Linglong and the others and said, "Where is the heavenly mandate pavilion? Take me there now. I want to see how they represent the heavens." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Zheng Ping and the others were silent. They had a helpless expression. Seeing the reaction of Zheng Ping and the others, Emo Qingyun showed a puzzled expression. He did not understand why Zheng Ping was like this. It was reasonable to say that the strength of the heavenly mandate pavilion was only equal to that of the Jinxing Palace. Zheng Ping and the others should not have such a reaction. "Mr. Emo, you may not know, but the heavenly mandate pavilion is a little special." Under Emo Qingyun's puzzled gaze, Zheng Ping sighed and said, "The heavenly mandate pavilion is different from the Jinxing Palace and the Bloody Corpse Demon Sect. It does not have a specific territory. It is just a moving building. It has only appeared 3 times so far. No one knows where it is hiding. So that's how it is." After listening to Zheng Ping's explanation, Emo Qingyun had a general understanding of the heavenly mandate pavilion. In that case, the heavenly mandate pavilion was indeed a little special. It was a little troublesome to deal with. Since we can't find them, we will wait patiently. Unable to see the location of the heavenly mandate pavilion, Emo Qingyun did not think too much about it. He was ready to deal with whatever came his way. After comforting Qian Linglong and the others, Emo Qingyun's heart moved. He said, "I read the description in the scroll. Linglong should not be the only one chosen by the heavenly mandate pavilion. There should be other people." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Zheng Ping's old face tightened. He said in a deep voice, "In addition to Miss Linglong, there are 2 other women who were chosen. They are Zhou Yu, the second daughter of the Deshun Trading Company, and Wang Mu, the first daughter of the Fenghua Sword Manor." Hearing Zheng Ping's words, Emo Qingyun nodded in understanding and said, "Since the heavenly mandate pavilion has also chosen them, they will certainly go and capture them. You immediately order people to go to these 2 places and bring Zhou Yu and Wang Mu here." Chapter 2131. Perhaps because Emo Qingyun's fame had spread far and wide, the matter of inviting Zhou Yu and Wang Mu went exceptionally smoothly. Not long after Zheng Ping left, he brought Zhou Yu and Wang Mu to the precious treasure pavilion, which was filled with singing birds and fragrant flowers. Seeing Zhou Yu and Wang Mu's faces, Emo Qingyun couldn't help but be stunned. These 2 girls' faces were no less beautiful than Qian Linglong. Seeing this situation, Emo Qingyun had already guessed the purpose of the heavenly mandate pavilion's choice of offerings. Zhou Yang, the owner of Deshun Trading Company, and Wang Xiong, the owner of Fenghua Sword Manor, came with the 2 girls. "Greetings, Mr. Emo." Everyone came in front of Emo Qingyun and bowed to Emo Qingyun in a respectful manner. Seeing their actions, Emo Qingyun nodded kindly and pointed to the chairs next to him, saying, "You don't have to be so polite. Sit down first." Hearing Emo Qingyun's instructions, Zhou Yang and the others sat down, waiting for Emo Qingyun's instructions. Seeing that everyone was looking at him, Emo Qingyun sorted out his thoughts and said, "About the heavenly mandate pavilion's choice of offerings, what do you think about it?" Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Zhou Yang and the others fell silent, making the atmosphere depressing. The corners of Zhou Yu and Wang Mu's eyes were filled with tears. They looked very pitiful. "Ah!" Wang Xiong was silent for a while, then he sighed heavily and said, Mr. Mo, to tell you the truth, before coming here, we have already discussed how to deal with the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion. Hearing Wang Xiong's words, Wang Mu's expression became even more sad, and tears flowed directly from his eyes. While Wang Mu was crying, Wang Xiong's expression became even more serious, and he continued, Mr. Mo, we are different from you. We don't have the strength to compete with the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion. We have already prepared for the worst. If it really doesn't work, in order to save the entire Fenghua Sword Manor, we will have to wrong Wang Mu. After listening to Wang Xiong's words, Zhou Yang nodded with a heavy expression. Obviously, he thought the same. Mo Qingyun's heart sank when he knew what Wang Xiong and Wang Xiong were thinking. His face turned even uglier. Whether it was Qian Linglong, Zhou Yu, or Wang Mu, they were not animals that could be sacrificed to the heavens and earth. Boss Zhou, Manor Head Wang, don't worry. Since I've encountered this matter, I will definitely not let it go. Mo Qingyun comforted Zhou Yang and the others as he looked at their gloomy expressions. His expression turned cold as he said, It's fine if the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion doesn't show up. But if they dare to show up, I will make sure that they won't be able to return. Thank you, Mr. Mo. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhou Yang and the others calmed down and a look of gratitude appeared on their faces. As far as they were concerned, if Mo Qingyun was willing to make a move, he would definitely be able to resolve the crisis Zhou Yu and Zhou Yu were in. Boss Zhou, Manor Head Wang, if the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion comes to ask for you, just let them come to me. After comforting Zhou Yang and Zhou Yu, Mo Qingyun gave them another order to make them feel more at ease. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhou Yang and the others were even happier. They thanked Mo Qingyun again and said, Mr. Mo, if the people of the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion know that you are going to stop them from doing evil, they may be too scared to show up. That would be best. Mo Qingyun smiled faintly. He didn't think that the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion would really be afraid of him. If the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion was afraid of him, they wouldn't have chosen Qian Linglong when they were choosing sacrifices. Next, Mo Qingyun talked with a few people for a while and then sent Zhou Yang and Zhou Yu away. Miss Zhou Yu, Miss Wang Mu, don't go back for a few days. Stay in the treasure pavilion with peace of mind. After sending Zhou Yang and Zhou Yu away, Mo Qingyun told Zhou Yu and Zhou Yu and asked Jing Ping to arrange accommodations for them. While arranging accommodations for Zhou Yu and Zhou Yu, Mo Qingyun also stayed in the treasure pavilion so that he could deal with the invasion of the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion at any time. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that he waited for several days in a row, but there was no movement from the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion. On this day, when Mo Qingyun was waiting for the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion, Jin Wei came with a group of people. Jin Wei came to the treasure pavilion again, scaring the chief steward and the others. They were afraid that this guy would come to cause trouble again. It couldn't be helped. Although Mo Qingyun was powerful, Jin Wei's background was not weak either. After all, no one knew that Mo Qingyun had taken over the Jinxing Palace. Chief Steward, please send a message for me. I have an urgent matter to discuss with Mr. Mo. While everyone was afraid of Jin Wei, he showed a respectful expression and walked up to the chief steward to ask for help. His current attitude was a huge contrast to when he came to the precious treasure pavilion to cause trouble. Very well, Mr. Jin Wei, please wait a moment. Seeing Jin Wei's respectful attitude, the chief steward did not dare to neglect him and greeted him politely. Then, the chief steward left to report Jin Wei's arrival to Mo Qingyun. Knowing that Jin Wei had come, Mo Qingyun did not leave him out and immediately came out to see him. He smiled and said, Mr. Jin Wei, I haven't seen you today. You look as good as ever. What business do you have with me today? Mr. Mo. Mr. Mo, you must be joking. Hearing Mo Qingyun's teasing words, Jin Wei's face immediately turned red and he shook his head in panic. After exchanging some pleasantries with Mo Qingyun, Jin Wei did not beat around the bush and began to explain his purpose in coming to Mo Qingyun. Mr. Mo, it's your first time in Thousand Language City, so there are many things you're not familiar with. I'm here today to run some errands for you and see if there's anything I can help with. Seeing Jin Wei's behavior, the surrounding people were all stunned. They admired Mo Qingyun to the extreme. Mo Qingyun is awesome. Even someone like Jin Wei is being taught a lesson by him. This guy only knows how to bully people. If you were as strong as Mo Qingyun, he would be afraid of you too. No matter what, now that Mo Qingyun is suppressing Jin Wei, he won't dare to be presumptuous anymore. Seeing Jin Wei's actions, the crowd whispered to one side, expressing their disdain for Jin Wei. Mo Qingyun immediately understood Jin Wei's purpose in coming. It was probably Jin Renhe's arrangement. Mo Qingyun did not mind Jin Renhe's actions. With Jin Wei running errands for him, he could save himself some trouble. If that's the case, you can stay. Mo Qingyun nodded at Jin Wei before telling Jinping to arrange a place for Jin Wei to stay. While Mo Qingyun and the others were talking, Qian Yulong and the others hurried over in a panic, as if they had encountered something major. When Qian Yulong and the others arrived, they found Qian Linglong and whispered something to her. After hearing Qian Yulong and the others' report, Qian Linglong's pretty face immediately turned cold. Her body emitted a cold aura. Chapter 2132. Linglong, what's going on? Seeing Qian Linglong's reaction, Mo Qingyun's expression changed, and he asked with concern. The ancestral tombs of the Thousand Language Manor have been dug up recently. Many of the bodies of the Thousand Language Manor's ancestors have disappeared. Under Mo Qingyun's questioning, Qian Linglong roughly explained the situation. Then, she said, if I am not mistaken, this should be the work of the Bloody Corpse Demon sect. They need a large number of corpses to refine Bloody Corpse puppet. After hearing Qian Linglong's words, Mo Qingyun nodded and understood the general situation. In the current Thousand Language City, only the Blood Corpse Demon sect had the guts and the ability to do so. What do you plan to do? After knowing about the Thousand Language Manor, Mo Qingyun was not in a hurry to take action. He first asked for Qian Linglong's opinion. Hearing Mo Qingyun's inquiry, Qian Linglong looked worried and said, now, we have to be wary of the Mandate Tower's attack. If we deal with the Blood Corpse Demon sect at this time, if the Mandate Tower suddenly attacks, we will be very passive. Hearing Qian Linglong's words, Qian Yulong and the others were silent. They also thought so. I don't think so. While everyone was thinking so, Mo Qingyun shook his head and said, I just think that this is the best opportunity to intimidate all the forces in the Thousand Language City. Qian Linglong and the others were puzzled and looked at Mo Qingyun curiously. They wanted Mo Qingyun to clear their doubts. Don't worry about the Mandate Tower. Just be careful and focus on dealing with the Blood Corpse Demon sect. Seeing that everyone was looking at him, Mo Qingyun briefly explained his thoughts and added, the true strength of the Blood Corpse Demon sect is similar to that of the Gold Punishment Palace. With the combined strength of the Thousand Language Manor and the Gold Punishment Palace, it is more than enough to deal with them. After hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Yulong and the others nodded. They felt that Mo Qingyun's words were true. To ensure that nothing goes wrong, I will have the King Devourer assist you in secret. In order to reassure Qian Yulong and the others, Mo Qingyun summoned King Devourer and instructed her to assist Qian Yulong and the others. Seeing King Devourer's help, Qian Yulong and the others were even more assured. A Saint Realm late-stage expert was very useful. After explaining everything, Mo Qingyun said to Qian Yulong and the others, Master Qian Yulong, since everything is settled, don't waste any more time. Go and eliminate the Blood Corpse Demon sect immediately. Yes. After hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Thousand Language Dragon didn't dare to delay and immediately set off for the Gold Punishment Palace. After settling the matter of the thousand-language manor, Mo Qingyun continued to wait for the heavenly mandate pavilion to come to the treasure pavilion to take him away. Time slowly passed. After about 2 hours, the Blood Corpse Demon Sex battle began. Have you heard? The Thousand-Language Manor and the Gold Punishment Palace have joined forces to eliminate the Blood Corpse Demon Sect. I knew it long ago. Because the Blood Corpse Demon Sect stole the ancestral grave of the Thousand-Language Manor, they angered the bottom line of the Thousand-Language Manor. Have you noticed? The Thousand-Language Manor seems to be very aggressive recently. They are eliminating one powerful enemy after another. I feel that there seems to be an invisible force in the Thousand-Language City that is changing the structure of the Thousand-Language City little by little. After hearing what you said, it seems to be the case. 3 major forces have already been affected. I don't know what will happen to the last Heavenly Mandate Pavilion. As the battle of the Blood Corpse Demon Sect began, some observant people discovered that the Thousand-Language City was different. At this moment, as everyone was talking, a huge floating building appeared in the sky above the Thousand-Language City. The people of the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion had appeared. The Heavenly Mandate Pavilion has appeared. I don't know what they will do this time. I heard that the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion has appeared this time to choose sacrifices for the heavens. You believe such words? The people they choose are all beautiful women. It must be to satisfy their desires. I also know that one of the sacrifices chosen by the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion seems to be a woman by Mo Qingyun's side. The Heavenly Mandate Pavilion has provoked Mo Qingyun. He is going to stir up trouble. Mo Qingyun is going to make a move again. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know how he will slap the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion in the face. Fight, wait for the slap in the face. Don't abuse people. Seeing the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion appear, some people who were familiar with Mo Qingyun were all excited. Looking at their posture, it seemed that the people who would fight with the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion were themselves. After a while, the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion came to the sky above the Treasure Pavilion. 3 men in golden robes walked out. The cultivation of these 3 people was not low. Each of them was at the peak of the medium level of the Saint Plane. They were only 1 step away from breaking through to the later stage of the Saint Plane. Among the 3, the leader of the strong men looked down at the Treasure Pavilion and shouted, "Zhou Yu, Wang Mu, Qian Linglong, you have been chosen by the heavens. This is an honor for you 3. Come with us to the sacrifice." Hearing this man's words, the surrounding people immediately tensed up. They could not help but worry about Mo Qingyun. The Heavenly Mandate Pavilion had always been mysterious and powerful. Facing such an enemy, would Mo Qingyun still be as strong as before? In the inner hall of the Treasure Pavilion. They are finally here. Hearing this strong man's words, Mo Qingyun's expression changed, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Immediately, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate. He quickly came outside the Treasure Pavilion and confronted the 3 people of the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion. Seeing the people around Qian Linglong, one of the 3 people of the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion walked out. A short man shouted, "We are here by the will of the heavens to take away the sacrifice he has chosen. Those who have no business with us should leave immediately." What a bunch of tricks! Looking at the 3 people of the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold. His eyes were full of sarcasm. He said, "You want to take Linglong away from me? That is impossible. Even if the one who comes today is the heavens, I will make a hole in it." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his body slowly floated into the air and confronted the 3 people of the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion. "How dare you, a boy of the 9 heavens Xian immortal plane, disobey the will of the heavens?" Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, the 3 people of the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion were immediately furious. They shouted at Mo Qingyun. As soon as the 3 of them finished speaking, their figures flashed and surrounded Mo Qingyun. As soon as the three of them attacked, a powerful aura burst out and crushed toward Mo Qingyun. Although the three of them were at the peak of the medium level of the Saint Plane, the aura they exuded was much more terrifying than Jinrunha's. It seemed that the true strength of the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion was much stronger than that of the other three forces. More importantly, Mo Qingyun also sensed a powerful bloodline power in the three of them. This bloodline power was different from the bloodlines of the Wild Continent, but it was also very powerful. Mo Qingyun could not help but have an illusion that even the Taichu creation bloodline was not as powerful as the bloodline of these three people. This discovery made Mo Qingyun very curious about the origin of these three people. Chapter 2133. The God Clan? The God Clan of the Desolation Era? Mo Qingyun looked at the three people in front of him and frowned, guessing their origins. In Mo Qingyun's view, only the powerful God Clan of the Desolation Era would have such a powerful bloodline. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the three people of the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion sneered and looked at Mo Qingyun with disdain. They said, "We are the noble divine clan. How can we be a race from a low-level civilization like yours? To you, we are the heavens that cannot be disobeyed. You are really full of yourself." Hearing the words of the three people of the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion, Mo Qingyun curled his lips and was even more disdainful of the three of them. He said, "I will say the same thing. Even if you are the heavens today, I will break your heavens." As Mo Qingyun's words fell, he did not hesitate and directly attacked the strong man. No matter what the other party's identity was, since they wanted to harm Qian Linglong, Mo Qingyun could not let them go. "You are courting death." Seeing Mo Qingyun take the initiative to attack him, the strong man shouted angrily and faced Mo Qingyun. As for the other two people, they were not in a hurry to make a move. They looked at Mo Qingyun with mocking eyes. Presumably, in his opinion, it was more than enough for him to deal with a kid like Mo Qingyun. "Wan Man, let this kid see the power of our high-level plane. Wan Xian, since Wan Man is going to deal with the kid, let's go capture the three women first. Wan Ting, don't worry, they can't escape. Haha, I forgot that you have the all-embracing soul-searching instrument." The other two people of the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion were talking and laughing on the side. In their eyes, Mo Qingyun and the others were prey waiting to be slaughtered. They could do whatever they wanted. "Kid, let me show you the power of the Divine Clan and let you know the gap between us." Looking at the approaching Mo Qingyun, the corner of Wan Man's mouth curled up, and a cold look appeared on his face. Heavenly roar. As Wan Man's words fell, he raised his head towards the sky and roared. A terrifying power erupted and shattered the clothes on his upper body. As Wan Man's clothes were torn apart, the strange runes on his body appeared in front of Mo Qingyun's eyes. Once these runes were revealed, they immediately blossomed into a dazzling screen of light and emitted a threatening aura. At the same time, these runes seemed to form a close connection with the entire world. Boom, boom, boom. Deafening sounds of thunder came from the sky above Thousand Language City, as if the heavens were roaring in anger. After the sound of thunder appeared, it began to become louder and louder, slowly giving rise to sound waves. These sound waves blasted towards Mo Qingyun as soon as they appeared. It was as if they wanted to shatter Mo Qingyun. Under the impact of the sound waves, some buildings in Thousand Language City were instantly blasted into dust. What a powerful technique! Seeing Wan Man make a move, Mo Qingyun was shocked, and his mood immediately became heavy. The technique that Wan Man displayed was a little beyond his understanding. It was something that he had never seen before. The power that this person is using seems to be at a level above Saint Power. Could it be that he came from another plane? Discovering the power that Wan Man used, Mo Qingyun's expression shook, and a bold idea appeared in his mind. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, This was the only explanation that could explain Wan Man's strangeness. After a brief moment of shock, Emo Qingyun did not dare to hesitate. He immediately calmed his mind and resisted the impact of the sound wave. While Emo Qingyun was resisting the impact of the sound waves, the primordial spirit that had been cultivating in the gray space suddenly opened its eyes. Then, Emo Qingyun's primordial spirit's figure flashed and returned to Emo Qingyun's sea of consciousness. When the primordial spirit returned to Emo Qingyun's sea of consciousness, he quickly formed a hand seal and pointed towards Wan Man. A powerful and mysterious force blasted out from Emo Qingyun's head and turned into a ray of light that shot towards Wan Man. In the blink of an eye, this powerful ray of light blasted into Wan Man's sea of consciousness. Ah! Wan Man was caught off guard and suffered a blow from Emo Qingyun's primordial spirit. He could not help but let out a miserable cry. Then, the divine ability that Wan Man used, Heaven's Roar, disappeared. Seeing that Wan Man was injured by Emo Qingyun, Wan Ting and Wan Xian, who were watching from the side, revealed surprised expressions. That kid injured Wan Man? It's really surprising. A person at the first level of the Nine Heavens Xian, Immortal Realm, can actually injure Wan Man. This kid is not simple. The power he displayed is even higher than our power level. Impossible. Unless he comes from a 3-star plane, it's impossible for his power level to be higher than ours. In my opinion, this kid's value might be higher than those 3 women. That's right. If we offer him to the Heavenly Emperor, the Heavenly Emperor should be very happy. Noticing Emo Qingyun's abnormality, Wan Xian and Wan Ting sneered. They were unwilling to stand by and do nothing. Then, Wan Xian and Wan Ting flew towards Wan Man, preparing to deal with Emo Qingyun together. Seeing Wan Xian and Wan Ting approach, Wan Man's face darkened. He showed a strong dissatisfaction and said, Wan Ting, Wan Xian, I can deal with this kid alone. I don't need your help. Wan Man, this kid is very valuable. We can't let him escape. Therefore, it's better if the 3 of us work together to ensure that we can capture him without fail. Hearing Wan Man's displeased words, Wan Xian and Wan Ting explained and turned to look at Emo Qingyun. Seeing Wan Ting and Wan Xian make a move, Emo Qingyun's expression became heavy. He was fully on guard against the 3 of them. Wan Man alone was already very troublesome for him. If Wan Ting and Wan Xian were to join in, his situation would be a little bad. Discerning people could see that Wan Xian and Wan Ting's strength wasn't any weaker than Wan Man's. More importantly, Wan Man's group was very strange. Yudi Hai and the others couldn't help them. Qingyun, I'll help you. Qian Linglong came to Emo Qingyun's side while he was thinking about how to deal with the 3 of them with a heavy heart. Looking at Qian Linglong, Emo Qingyun hesitated. He was considering whether or not to let Qian Linglong take action. Emo Qingyun pondered for a moment and decided to let Qian Linglong take action. After all, she was a late-stage Sage Realm expert. Even if her methods weren't as strange as Wan Man's group, she should have no problem protecting herself by relying on the suppression of her realm. Seeing Emo Qingyun's expression, Qian Linglong knew what he was thinking. She smiled charmingly and said, Don't worry, they can't do anything to me. Don't forget that my master also came from a 2-star plane. I almost forgot about that. Hearing Qian Linglong's words, Emo Qingyun had a look of realization on his face, and his worried heart relaxed. The reason Qian Linglong could become the holy maiden of the 1,000 illusions was because she had taken an expert as her master. Qian Linglong's master was a powerful traveling Taoist. It was said that he had come from a powerful plane. Because Emo Qingyun had thought that this kind of thing was very far away from him, he hadn't paid much attention to it. Chapter 2134. Since that's the case, let's join forces to fight against the experts from the higher realms. Emo Qingyun didn't care about the identities of Wan Man and the others. He only wanted to fight against the three of them. As Mo Qingyun spoke, he released a strong battle intent, giving people a feeling that his heroic spirit reached the clouds. Demon God transformation! Mo Qingyun shouted angrily. His body instantly expanded and turned into a demon god that was dozens of feet tall. When Mo Qingyun turned into a demon god, the aura he released also increased and reached the second level of the Nine Heavens Xian, immortal realm. Seeing Mo Qingyun's body grow bigger, the expressions of the people watching the battle changed drastically. What kind of divine ability is this? It can actually increase Mo Qingyun's cultivation. It turns out that Mo Qingyun didn't use his true strength when he fought against Jin Renha. Mo Qingyun's strength is too terrifying. How did this guy cultivate? Everyone was shocked when they saw Mo Qingyun's performance. Their expressions changed one by one. If they knew that Mo Qingyun used the fusion gate to fuse with other people's cultivation, they would be even more shocked. 1,000 illusions. When Mo Qingyun used his divine ability, Qian Linglong didn't hold back and also used her divine ability. Then, Qian Linglong's body split into two into three, and finally, thousands of clones. Although the strength of these clones couldn't be compared to the original body, each of them had the combat strength of a middle-stage saint. Therefore, their combined battle prowess was not to be underestimated. This is the divine ability of the 1,000 illusions. That woman is from the 1,000 illusions. Her bloodline is so powerful. She's definitely not from the 1,000 illusions. Who is she? No wonder Mo Qingyun came to the 1,000-language city. It seems like his arrival is related to this woman. I finally know why the 1,000-language mansion is so strong recently. It seems like Mo Qingyun is behind it. Seeing Qian Linglong's reaction, some quick-witted people immediately found the key point. They finally knew why the Dark Devil clan of the 1,000-language manor had been annihilated and why the 1,000-language manor dared to go against the Blood Corpse Devil sect. It turned out that Mo Qingyun was behind all of this. He was secretly manipulating everything. Under everyone's shocked gazes, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, and he took the lead to attack Wan Man's group. His figure flickered a few times as Mo Qingyun arrived above Wan Man and the other two. He raised his hand and pressed down on them. Power of creation * heavenly demon star splitting palm. An imposing power of creation gathered in Mo Qingyun's palm and turned into a huge black palm shadow. The huge black palm formed and blocked the light above the crowd, causing the light to dim instantly. Bang bang bang, under the crushing pressure of the palm shadows, some of the buildings in Thousand Words City were instantly crushed into dust. Some people with weaker cultivations directly turned pale and spat out blood under Mo Qingyun's palm. Seeing this situation, no one dared to hesitate and hurriedly dodged in all directions. The aura emitted by the palm shadows was already unbearable. One could imagine how terrifying Mo Qingyun's palm was. What a powerful ability! Is this kid really someone from a lower realm? No. Impossible. This kind of power is definitely not from a lower realm. Sensing the power of Mo Qingyun's palm, Wan Man and the other two were shocked. A trace of fear flashed in their eyes. At this moment they truly discovered how monstrous Mo Qingyun was. This kid is very strange. The three of us will immediately join forces to deal with this kid. Discovering Mo Qingyun's strangeness, Wan Ting's expression turned solemn as he hurriedly instructed Wan Man and the other two. Hearing Wan Ting's words, Wan Man and the other two quickly nodded and put away their contempt. Purgatory of Heaven. Wan Ting and the other two quickly formed hand seals. The runes on their bodies flashed and gathered a terrifying power. The power burst out and gathered in the hand seals, causing the hand seals to emit a dazzling light. In the blink of an eye, the hand seals expanded by nearly 100 times and turned into a black double-edged axe. The double-edged axe formed and with the power to split the heavens and earth, It slashed towards the giant palm in the sky. Boom, boom, boom. The giant palm and the axe collided and immediately exploded with a deafening sound, creating a destructive storm. The storm formed and soared into the sky, causing the heavens and earth to shake. For a moment, an intense gale that swept away everything in its path enveloped the entire 1,000-language city. We can't go on like this. If we continue to fight, the 1,000-language city will be destroyed. When Emo Qingyun saw the shockwaves from his battle erupting with a huge destructive force, he frowned heavily and said, "Ling Long, block the shockwaves from the battle. Don't let them destroy 1,000-language city. I'll lure the three of them away." Okay. Qian Linglong nodded and immediately blocked the aftermath of the battle, protecting the people in the 1,000-language city. Under Qian Linglong's protection, most of the people in the 1,000-language city had a lingering fear. At this moment they felt as if they had just survived a disaster. If it wasn't for Qian Linglong, they would have been in deep trouble. Seeing that Qian Linglong had blocked the aftermath of the battle, Emo Qingyun turned to look at Wan Man and the other two and said, "This place is too small. I can't display my full strength. If the three of you have the guts, follow me out of the city and fight." After Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he turned into a ray of light and flew out of the city. "We can't let that kid escape. Let's chase after him." Seeing Emo Qingyun's action, Wan Man and the other two exchanged glances and immediately chased after Emo Qingyun. In their opinion, Emo Qingyun's words were just an excuse to escape. Seeing that Emo Qingyun and the other three had flown out of the city, Qian Linglong did not hesitate and immediately chased after them. "Let's go and take a look. We can't miss such a great battle. That's only natural. There's no harm in slapping someone's face. How can I not watch it? It's a pity that my cultivation is too weak. Otherwise, I would follow them and take a look. Yeah. Without a Saint Realm cultivation, it would be too late to escape if they were affected by the aftermath of the battle." Seeing the actions of Emo Qingyun and the other three, the people in the 1,000-language city were in a different mood. Under everyone's gaze, Emo Qingyun's figure flashed and quickly arrived at a barren mountain peak. When Emo Qingyun stopped, Wan Man and the other two had also caught up. Their gazes were cold as they looked at Emo Qingyun. Then, Qian Linglong also caught up and stopped beside Emo Qingyun. After a while, the people who were watching the show also came to a place not far away from Emo Qingyun and the others. There was no other way. The aftermath of the battle between Emo Qingyun and the others was too terrifying. Even if they had a Saint Realm cultivation, they did not dare to get too close. If they were affected by the aftermath of the battle, even if they had a Saint Realm cultivation, they would lose a layer of skin because of it. "Since you've caught up, let's fight." Seeing that Wan Man and the other two had caught up, Emo Qingyun did not talk nonsense with them and directly attacked the three of them. Chapter 2135. 99 Heavenly Demon God Slaughtering Sword Formation. Emo Qingyun waved his finger and 81 ancient swords quickly appeared in front of him. The 81 ancient swords flew in front of Emo Qingyun like flood dragons. In a short moment, the 81 ancient swords formed a sword formation and enveloped Emo Qingyun and Qian Linglong. Emo Qingyun wasn't afraid of Wan Man and the others. However, these people had a terrifying origin, so it was better to be careful. Wan Man and the others tensed up when they saw Emo Qingyun attack. They didn't have the slightest bit of calmness. Now, Emo Qingyun was an opponent on the same level in their eyes. So, they didn't dare to underestimate him. Raging Calamity Flame. Wan Man and the others clenched their fists. Flames surged on their fists. The runes on their bodies shone brightly. Their fists condensed a formidable power. Then, they clashed their fists together and fused their power. Boom! Wan Man and the others' fists collided with each other. A huge ball of flame flew out of their fists and into the air. The huge ball of flame left their fists and began to expand rapidly. Its diameter approached 10,000 meters in the blink of an eye. The grass and trees on the barren mountain peak below were instantly burned to ashes by the power of the huge ball of flame. The surrounding people's complexions changed when they saw the power of the huge ball of flame. Their complexions became pale. What a terrifying magical ability! The combined power of these three people has already surpassed an ordinary expert of the late stage of the Sage realm. We are several thousand meters away from him, but I feel as if my blood and chi are surging under the power of the huge ball of flame. If we come within 1,000 meters of them, our foundation will be injured by the power of the flame. We may even be burned to death. The strength of these three people is so terrifying. It won't be easy for Mo Qingyun to defeat them. The surrounding people exclaimed in shock when they sensed the might of the huge ball of flame. While the crowd was speaking in shock, they were also worried for Mo Qingyun. They felt that Mo Qingyun's situation was not good. Under everyone's worried gazes, Qian Linglong revealed a pained expression. She was suffering under the impact of the flames. Compared to Qian Linglong's situation, Mo Qingyun was much more relaxed and did not feel any discomfort. After all, the toughness of Mo Qingyun's body had already reached the level of medium-quality Saint Artifact. It was not much weaker than high-quality Saint Artifact. With such a strong physical body, it was naturally not a problem for him to withstand the impact of some flame energy. Dong dong dong. Under the control of one man and the other two, the giant flaming ball arrived above Mo Qingyun and his companion. Then, it scattered a terrifying rain of fire. Qian Linglong's pretty face changed when she saw the rain of fire. She immediately dismissed her clones. In the face of this terrifying rain of fire, the more illusions she summoned, the more disadvantageous it would be for her. She might as well fight with her true body. When Qian Linglong removed her phantom doppelganger, Mo Qingyun hurriedly activated the sword formation to protect Qian Linglong from harm. Linglong, retreat out of the fireball's attack range and assist me from the side. After seeing Qian Linglong's performance, Mo Qingyun instructed her to prepare to face one man and the other two alone. Because the divine ability used by one man and the other two just happened to restrain Qian Linglong, it was better for her to retreat first. Okay, be careful. After hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Qian Linglong did not persist and immediately retreated out of the fireball's attack range. After retreating out of the battle range, Qian Linglong braced herself and looked for a suitable opportunity to assist Mo Qingyun. Competing with me in the control of flames, I'm afraid you guys will be disappointed. Looking at one man and the other two above, Mo Qingyun's lips curled up and a look of contempt appeared on his face. After Mo Qingyun's words, his face turned cold and he swung his right fist toward the giant flaming ball. Fire of civilization, sacred demon star-shattering fist. An even more powerful flame energy gathered on Mo Qingyun's right fist. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a giant flaming fist. After the giant flaming fist was formed, it blasted toward the giant flaming ball in the air with the force of a thunderbolt. As Mo Qingyun's fist blasted out, the surrounding flames dimmed as if they were rabbits that had seen a tiger. This is the fire of civilization. This kid actually ignited the fire of civilization. Doesn't this mean that he's the Lord of Civilization of this plane? I really didn't expect that the Lord of Civilization of this plane would be a junior at the Nine Heavens mysterious immortal stage. Currently, he can't be considered the Lord of Civilization. He can only be said to have the potential to become the Lord of Civilization. The Heavenly Emperor should be very interested in such a person. If we give him to the Heavenly Emperor, the Heavenly Emperor should reward us. Recognizing Mo Qingyun's fire of civilization, one man and the other two were shocked and the coldness on their faces became thicker. At this moment, while one man and the others were talking, the flaming fist blasted the giant flaming ball and let out a loud sound. Boom! A loud sound spread out. Following that, the flames on the giant flaming ball became much weaker. Crack, crack, crack. At the same time, the sound of an eggshell cracking came from the giant flaming ball. Oh no, the calamity flame is about to be broken. Once the divine ability is broken, we'll be in a passive position. Hurry up and attack with all your strength. Keep the flaming ball intact and block that kid's divine ability. This kid is only at the 9 heavens mysterious immortal stage, but he's already so difficult to deal with. If he breaks through to the saint stage, he'll be even more formidable. Seeing the cracks on the giant flaming ball, Wan Ting and the other two's eyelids twitched. Panic, fear, and other emotions rose in their hearts. Then, Wan Ting and the other two clenched their teeth and used all of their strength to keep the flame torch from breaking. Even so, the giant flaming ball showed no signs of stopping. Boom! Not long after, a loud sound came from the giant flaming ball as it exploded. Following that, a terrifying flaming storm erupted in midair like a giant firework. Puff, puff, puff. After the giant flaming ball was destroyed by Mo Qingyun's domineering attack, Wan Man and the other two's minds connected to it immediately vomited blood. Mo Qingyun didn't show any mercy after severely injuring the three with a single punch. His figure moved, and he immediately attacked the three of them. As Mo Qingyun charged towards Wan Man and the other two, Mo Qingyun took out the tiger soul and slashed down at Wan Man and the other two. Ghost Shadow Slash. Mo Qingyun slashed out, and 9 identical Mo Qingyun quickly appeared around him. Following that, the 10 Mo Qingyun continuously slashed at Wan Man and the other two. Be careful, the kid's weapon is very strong. Don't fight it head-on. Seeing the tiger soul in Mo Qingyun's hand, Wan Xian's expression trembled as he spoke in a panic. As soon as Wan Xian finished speaking, he ignored his injuries and immediately took out a shield to block in front of his body. When Wan Xian took out the shield, Wan Ting and Wan Man didn't hesitate and poured their strength into it. Under the combined strength of Wan Man and the other two, the shield immediately emitted a dazzling light. Chapter 2136. Boom! A doppelganger's attack landed on the shield, producing a deafening sound. Under the doppelganger's attack, the shield immediately shook violently, and the light on it dimmed by a few degrees. Seeing this scene, Wan Man and the others' expressions twitched, and their hearts hung in their throats. Just one doppelganger's attack had such terrifying power. Mo Qingyun and 9 doppelgangers' combined attack would be even more terrifying. Boom! Without waiting for Wan Man and the others to calm down, the second doppelganger's attack came, once again causing the shield to shake violently. Under the second doppelganger's attack, the light on the shield was clearly dimmer than before. Seeing the shield's light dim again, Wan Man and the others' pupils immediately shrank, and they became even more nervous. They couldn't continue like this. They would become cowards and suffer Mo Qingyun's attacks again and again. Although they knew that this wasn't a solution, the current situation didn't allow them to not do this. Once they gave up the shield's defense, they would be seriously injured under Mo Qingyun's attacks and lose their ability to fight. Following this, the remaining doppelgangers' attacks landed on the shield again and again. When the 8th doppelganger's attack landed on the shield, the light on the shield finally dissipated. Seeing the light on the shield dissipate, Wan Man and the others' expressions changed greatly, and their faces turned pale. Boom! Without waiting for Wan Man and the others to calm down, the 9th doppelganger's attack landed on the shield. The power that Wan Man and the others had poured into the shield had been completely exhausted under the previous attack. At this moment, facing the 9th doppelganger's attack, the shield was no longer able to block it for them. The 9th phantom doppelganger's attack smashed onto the shield, penetrated through the shield, and entered the bodies of Wan Man and the other two. Bang! 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 Receiving the 9th doppelganger's attack, Wan Man and the others were directly sent flying, and the blood in their bodies surged. However, before they could suppress their injuries, Mo Qingyun's attack came, and he swung his saber at the three of them. When Mo Qingyun swung his saber, the tiger soul instantly shone with a black light, and 100-meter-long saber light blasted out. The saber light flew out from the tiger soul, and in a flash, it landed on Wan Man and the others. After receiving Mo Qingyun's attack, Wan Man and the others fell to the ground like meteors. Boom! Boom! Well, when Wan Man and the others fell to the ground, they smashed a few large holes in the mountain, causing a series of mountain collapses. Following the collapse of the mountain, a huge sandstorm erupted from the mountain peak. When the sandstorm appeared, it enveloped Wan Man and the others couldn't see their situation. After cutting down Wan Man and the other two with a single slash, Mo Qingyun didn't pursue them. Instead, he stood in the air with an indifferent expression. Seeing the battle situation of Mo Qingyun and the others, the surrounding onlookers all revealed shocked expressions. Moses! Moses' attack. Face-smacking Mo is indeed worthy of his name. No matter who his opponent is, he never slaps their faces carelessly. Now that all the experts in the 1,000-language city have been swept away by him, does he feel lonely? Are you stupid? The experts in the 1,000-language city have been swept away, but there are still many experts in the 1,000 illusions. Even if the 1,000 illusions have been swept away, there are still many experts in the wasteland continent waiting to be slapped in the face. Yes, as long as they live, the face slaps will not stop. Brilliant! The onlookers became more and more excited as they talked. They were filled with strong expectations for Mo Qingyun's face-slapping feat. While the crowd was talking, the sandstorm on the mountain peak dissipated, revealing 300-meter deep craters. In the craters, there were 3 miserable figures lying on the ground. They were Wan Man and the other 2 who had been blasted down by Mo Qingyun. Cough, cough, cough. Wan Man and the other 2 stood up and quickly flew out of the craters. They discussed with each other and said, "This kid's battle strength has exceeded our expectations. I'm afraid we can't deal with him. Let's leave this place first. Let's go." After Wan Man and the other 2 finished their discussion, they decided to run for their lives without any hesitation. Seeing that Wan Man and the other 2 were preparing to escape, Mo Qingyun did not chase after them. He immediately took out the God-shooter bow. Mo Qingyun took out the God-shooter bow and pulled it into a full moon. He used the fire of civilization to condense 3 arrows. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Mo Qingyun's fingers loosened, and the arrows formed by the fire of civilization immediately chased after Wan Man and the other 2. The 3 flaming arrows flashed and caught up with Wan Man and the other 2 in the blink of an eye, piercing their back. The fire arrows formed by the fire of civilization pierced into the bodies of Wan Man and the other 2 and began to burn their bodies. After being burned by the fire of civilization, Wan Man and the other 2 screamed and ran even faster. In the blink of an eye, the 3 of them had escaped from Mo Qingyun's sight and disappeared without a trace. These 3 guys are really strong. They were hit by the arrows formed by the fire of civilization, but they were still able to escape quickly. Mo Qingyun frowned as he looked at Wan Man and the other 2 fleeing. He was a little surprised by their performance. If an ordinary expert of the intermediate stage of the Saint Realm was seriously injured and was hit by the fire of civilization arrow, he would not be able to escape. From this, it could be seen that Wan Man and the other 2 from the 2-star realm were not ordinary experts of the Saint Realm. Qingyun, these 3 people have mysterious origins and strange means. Will it be troublesome if we let them escape? Qian Linglong frowned when she saw that Wan Man and the other 2 had escaped. She couldn't help but feel worried. Mo Qingyun shook his head when he heard Qian Linglong's words. He said in a deep voice, "Don't worry. These 3 people's injuries are not light. They won't be able to stir up any trouble in a short time. The most important thing now is to help you recover the 1,000 illusions." And Qian Linglong nodded when she heard Mo Qingyun's words. Her eyes flashed with a touched look. She could see from Mo Qingyun's performance that he cared about her very much. Otherwise, he wouldn't have helped her so wholeheartedly. The previous battle caused too much of a commotion. So, we shouldn't go back in a high-profile manner. Mo Qingyun thought in his heart. If he went back now, he would inevitably attract the attention of many people. Therefore, it was better for him to go back quietly. It would be easier for him to control the situation in secret. Mo Qingyun instructed Qian Linglong. Then, his figure flashed and flew towards the distance. Mo Qingyun has left. It seems like he doesn't intend to return to the Thousand-Word City. Face-slapping Mo is going to leave the Thousand-Word City and head to a broader stage to slap faces. It's a pity that we can't watch face-slapping Mo abuse people. Forget it. The show is over. Let's go back. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had flown far away, the onlookers returned to their homes with waning interest. Chapter 21:37. Not long after those people returned, the news of Mo Qingyun's departure spread throughout Thousand-Language City. Just when everyone thought that Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong had left, the two of them quietly returned. With the strength of Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong, it was not difficult for them to return to Thousand-Language City quietly. When Mo Qingyun returned to Thousand-Language City, he went directly to the Blood Corpse Demon sect to see the situation there. Although Thousand-Language Manor had the advantage, if the Blood Corpse Demon sect went all out, their situation would not be too optimistic. As one of the four major forces of Thousand-Language City, the Blood Corpse Demon sect was easy to find. Even if Mo Qingyun had not been there, it was not difficult to find it according to the description of Qian Linglong and the others. About 15 minutes later, Mo Qingyun came to the Blood Corpse Demon sect according to the memory in his mind and saw the fierce battle scene. Unexpectedly, the two sides had been fighting for several hours and the battle was still not over. It seemed to be in a stalemate. It seems that the rumors are not credible. The strength of the Blood Corpse Demon sect and the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion is obviously stronger than Thousand-Language Manor and Jinxing Palace. Mo Qingyun glanced at the battle situation and had a clear understanding of the strength of the Blood Corpse Demon sect. Not to mention the powerful blood corpses, the overall strength of the Blood Corpse Demon sect was not weaker than Thousand-Language Manor or Jinxing Palace. But if the blood corpses were added, the combat strength of the Blood Corpse Demon sect was obviously a level higher. More importantly, what surprised Mo Qingyun was that among the blood corpses controlled by the Blood Corpse Demon sect, there was an existence of the late-stage Saint realm. Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun could not help but feel a little lucky that he had the King Devourer with him. Otherwise, the people of Thousand-Language Manor and Jinxing Palace would be at a disadvantage in the battle against the Blood Corpse Demon sect. After knowing the situation of the two sides, Mo Qingyun disguised himself and joined the battle. When Mo Qingyun disguised himself, Qian Linglong also disguised herself and joined the battle. With Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong joining the battle, the stalemate was instantly broken. Who are they? Why are you helping us? Because Mo Qingyun and his companion were in disguise, Qian Yulong and the others did not recognize Mo Qingyun and his companion. Hearing Qian Yulong's words, the sky-devouring mermaid empress glared at them and said unhappily, "This is my master and Miss Linglong. You can't even recognize them. How useless." Hearing King Devourer's words, Qian Yulong and the others wanted to cry but had no tears. They felt extremely wronged. He instructed, "Go and collect your ancestor's body. After you bury them again, I'll set up a formation for your ancestral tomb. It'll be difficult for others to steal it." "Thank you very much, Mr. Mo." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Yulong and the others were overjoyed and quickly thanked Mo Qingyun. They had witnessed Mo Qingyun's formation skills with their own eyes. He was definitely at the standard of a middle-grade Saint Array Master. More importantly, there were 2 middle-grade Saint Array Masters among Mo Qingyun's subordinate. With 3 middle-grade Saint Array Masters working together, it would be difficult for them to set up a formation that wasn't awesome. After thanking Mo Qingyun, Qian Yulong and the others went to collect the ancestor's body and put it into a coffin. After about 2 hours, the battle scene was cleaned up. Jinrenhe and the others also came out. Since everything is settled, let's return to the Qian Yu mansion. Seeing that everything was settled, Mo Qingyun instructed Qian Yulong and the others and flew directly to the Qian Yu mansion. After a while, Mo Qingyun and the others returned to the Qian Yu mansion and buried the ancestor's body. After burying the ancestor's body, Mo Qingyun didn't go back on his words and began to set up a formation for the Qian Yu mansion's ancestral tomb. In order to increase the speed of setting up the formation, Mo Qingyun summoned Xue Long and the others to set up the formation for the Qian Yu mansion's ancestral tomb with him. When Mo Qingyun was setting up the formation, all kinds of rumors about him in the Qian Yu city could be said to be in full swing. There were all kinds of versions. Some said that he was secretly controlling the Qian Yu city. Some said that he was the young lord of the 1,000 illusions. When Mo Qingyun heard these rumors from Qian Yulong and the others, he just smiled at them. Chapter 2138 Blood Sword Sect Conference Hall. What? Mo Qingyun has left Thousand Language City? The news of Mo Qingyun's departure had reached Chen Huangyi's ears, and he was shocked. If Mo Qingyun had left, how was he going to avenge Chen Lin and Chen Yu? Wouldn't all his hard work have been in vain? As Chen Huangyi thought of this, he turned his head to look at Ting Sha as he asked, Guardian Tian, Mo Qingyun has left the Thousand Language City. What should we do now? Sect Master, there's no need to worry. This matter isn't like the rumors. Hearing Chen Huangyi's question, Ting Sha smiled coldly and comforted Chen Huangyi. When Thousand Language Manor was dealing with the Blood Corpse Demon sect, I secretly went over to observe. With the combined strength of Thousand Language Manor and Gold Punishment Palace, they definitely couldn't exterminate the Blood Corpse Demon sect. Later on, the Blood Corpse Demon sect was exterminated and Mo Qingyun must have joined in. What you're saying is that Mo Qingyun's departure from Thousand Language City was just a facade and he secretly returned. After Ting Sha's analysis, Chen Huangyi's eyes lit up as he deduced the actual situation. Seeing that Chen Huangyi understood what he meant, Ting Sha nodded his head in satisfaction and said, Sect Master, if you don't believe me, you can go to the Precious Treasure Pavilion and secretly pay a visit to Mo Qingyun. I believe Mo Qingyun will meet you. Alright, I'll go now. In order to verify Ting Sha's words, Chen Huangyi didn't want to waste any time and immediately went to the Precious Treasure Pavilion. After a while, Chen Huangyi arrived at the Precious Treasure Pavilion and walked to the head steward. Head steward, I'm the Blood Sword Sect Master, Chen Huangyi. I'm here to pay a visit to Mr. Mo. Pay a visit to Mr. Mo? The chief steward's expression froze. He was very surprised by Chen Huangyi's words. With a troubled expression, he said, Sect Leader Chen, I'm really sorry. Mr. Mo has not returned since he left a few days ago. Chief Manager, Mr. Mo and I are close friends. Don't try to fool me. I know he's still in Thousand Word City. Seeing the Chief Manager's reaction, Chen Huangyi didn't care too much and immediately explained to the Chief Manager. From Chen Huangyi's point of view, since Mo Qingyun wanted to sneak into the city, he definitely didn't want anyone to know that he was back. Therefore, it was understandable that it would be troublesome to meet Mo Qingyun. Sect Leader Chen, I'm not lying to you. Mr. Mo really isn't here. Seeing that Chen Huangyi was unwilling to give up, the Chief Manager revealed a helpless expression and explained to him again. Seeing the Chief Manager's reaction, Chen Huangyi really believed that Emo Qingyun really wasn't in Treasure Pavilion. If that's the case, I'll leave first. When Mr. Emo comes back, I hope you can pass on a message for me. Seeing that Emo Qingyun really wasn't there, Chen Huangyi didn't want to stay any longer. He turned around and left Treasure Pavilion. He's really not here? Coming out of Treasure Pavilion, Chen Huangyi frowned. His heart was filled with doubts. According to Tingsha, Emo Qingyun had already returned. But if he wasn't in Treasure Pavilion, where could he have gone? Flower Lingo Restaurant? Chen Huangyi thought for a while. He went to Flower Lingo Restaurant to see if Emo Qingyun was there. As for Thousand Words Residence and Gold Punishment Palace, Chen Huangyi didn't think of going there. Even if he was there, he wouldn't be able to see him. With his status, it was really difficult to get Thousand Words Dragon and Jinrenha to see him. Chen Huangyi went to Flower Lingo Restaurant and still didn't see Emo Qingyun. He went back disappointed. Guardian Tian, Emo Qingyun is not in the Precious Treasure Pavilion. Could it be that he really left? When Chen Huangyi returned to the Blood Sword sect, he explained his doubts to Tingsha. Tingsha wasn't surprised by Chen Huangyi's concerns. He said calmly, "Sect leader, you don't know. Emo Qingyun is very close to Thousand Words Residence and Gold Punishment Palace. He might have already taken control of these two forces. If he isn't in Treasure Pavilion, he should be in Thousand Words Residence and Gold Punishment Palace. However, it's not realistic to go to Gold Punishment Palace and Thousand Words Residence to look for Emo Qingyun." Hearing Tingsha's words, Chen Huangyi shook his head and dismissed the idea. Looking at the serious expression on Chen Huangyi's face, Tingsha gave him a comforting smile and said, "Leader, don't worry, Emo Qingyun will not be able to escape. At most, there are 5 more days before our allies arrive. What you need to do now is to wait patiently." If that's the case, I'll have to trouble Guardian Tian. Hearing Tingsha's words, Chen Huangyi didn't think too much. He got up and left the main hall. Chen Huangyi left the Great Hall and returned to his own small courtyard. Doubt once again arose in his heart. If Emo Qingyun had secretly taken control of the Thousand-Language Manor and the Golden Punishment Palace during this period of time, and was also planning to deal with the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion and the Bloody Corpse Demon Sect, he shouldn't have time to care about Lin and Yu. Also, even if others want to kill with a borrowed knife, with the strength of Blood Sword Sect, we can't compete with Emo Qingyun. Could it be that the death of Lin and Yu has nothing to do with Emo Qingyun? The more Chen Huangyi thought about it, the more he felt that his deduction was right. The death of Chen Lin and Yu might have nothing to do with Emo Qingyun. Although he knew the situation was like this, he was already riding a tiger and there was no turning back now. Sigh. Chen Huangyi sighed and didn't think too much about it. 2 days later, in Thousand Words Residence, after a few days of setting up the array, the defensive array of Thousand Words Residence's ancestral tomb was finally completed by Emo Qingyun and the other two. After completing the defensive array of Thousand Words Residence's ancestral tomb, Emo Qingyun and the other two looked tired. They must have used up a lot of their energy. "Master Qian Yulong, I need to cultivate for a few days. Please don't disturb me." After setting up the array, Emo Qingyun instructed Qian Yulong and returned to his place of rest. After hearing Emo Qingyun's instructions, Qian Yulong brought a few elders and personally stood guard for Emo Qingyun. Putting aside Emo Qingyun's identity, he set up the defensive array of Thousand Words Residence's ancestral tomb. It was worth it for Qian Yulong and the rest to do so. When Emo Qingyun returned to his room, he abandoned all distracting thoughts and immersed himself in cultivation. During the period when Emo Qingyun was cultivating, the medicinal crystals piled up around him floated out wisps of pure medicinal power. When the medicinal power floated out, it was absorbed by Emo Qingyun and raised his cultivation bit by bit. The time that followed passed by slowly as Emo Qingyun cultivated. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. After 3 days of continuous cultivation, the energy that Mo Qingyun exhausted from setting up the array finally recovered completely. However, to Mo Qingyun's surprise, his cultivation actually made great progress during these few days of cultivation. Peak of the first level of the 9 Heavens Xian, Immortal Realm. After sensing his cultivation, Mo Qingyun was delighted and anticipation appeared on his face as he said, "Based on the current situation, I'll be able to break through to the second level of the 9 Heavens Xian, Immortal Realm in at most 10 days. Chapter 2139. 1000 Illusions, Main Clan. 3 figures in a sorry state fled here in panic. Their auras were extremely weak. If Mo Qingyun was here, he would definitely recognize the 3 of them. They were Wan Man and the other 2 who had fled earlier. Because they were worried that Mo Qingyun would hunt them down, Wan Man and the other 2 hadn't dared to stop and rest for 5 days. They had no choice. Mo Qingyun's battle strength was too terrifying. They didn't dare to lower their guard. In their current state, if they were caught by Mo Qingyun, they wouldn't have a chance to survive. Therefore, they didn't dare to stop to heal their injuries before they were completely confident. Standing in the sky above the Dark Devil clan, Wan Ting and the other 2 glanced down and said, "This is the territory of a great force. Mo Qingyun wouldn't dare to brazenly capture us here. It should be safer for us to hide here and heal our injuries." After Wan Ting and the other 2 finished their discussion, their figures flashed, finding a secluded little courtyard to hide in. Wan Man and the other 2 hid in the courtyard. They didn't dare to waste any time and immediately started to heal their injuries. At this moment, in a magnificent palace in the 1000 Illusions Main Clan, a young man in a brocade robe suddenly opened his eyes and retreated from his cultivation. What a powerful blood qi fluctuation! I'm afraid that even the sacred Might clan can't compare to this bloodline power. The young man in brocade robe had a shocked expression as he exclaimed. Then, a cold smile appeared on his face as he said, "If I can plant this bloodline, I will be the undisputed #1 person among the younger generation of the Dark Devil clan." The young man in brocade robe muttered to himself. Then, he revealed an expectant expression and quickly walked out of the palace. "Sacred Sun Yunshao, you've finished your seclusion." Seeing the young man in brocade robe come out, the people waiting outside the palace immediately bowed respectfully to him. Zi Yunshao nodded indifferently in response to everyone's greetings. He said in a deep voice, "Is there any news about Mo Qingyun recently? It's said that Mo Qingyun went to the 1000 Spirit City not long ago. Later, he seemed to have gone to the 1000 Language City." When he heard Zi Yunshao's question, Jing Chuxiong reported all the information he had received. While reporting Mo Qingyun's whereabouts, Jing Chuxiong also told Zi Yunshao about Mo Qingyun's deeds. After reporting Mo Qingyun's deeds, Jing Chuxiong's expression turned grave. He said with a worried expression, "Saint Sun, if the report is true, Mo Qingyun's true combat strength is comparable to a late Saint Realm expert. It won't be easy for us to deal with him. I underestimated him." After listening to Jing Chuxiong's report, Zi Yunxiao's face darkened. His expression tensed up as he said, "Chen Zhao, contact the main family immediately and ask them to send some experts over. I believe that they will be very proactive in dealing with Mo Qingyun." "Yes." Chen Zhao answered and immediately left to contact the main branch of the Dark Demon race. Seeing Zi Yunxiao's action, Jing Chuxiong's expression turned for the better. The worry in his heart also lessened. He probably also felt that with the help of the experts from the Dark Demon race, dealing with Mo Qingyun would not be a problem. "Don't worry about dealing with Mo Qingyun. Follow me to a place first." After dealing with Mo Qingyun, Zi Yunshao did not want to waste any more time. He immediately instructed Jing Chuxiong and the rest. After instructing Jing Chuxiong and the rest, Zi Yunshao's figure moved and stood in midair. decaying soul and bloodthirsty. Zi Yunxiao looked around and formed a hand seal. The saint energy in his palm began to gather wildly. A cold and gloomy aura came from Zi Yunxiao's palm and turned into the image of an evil spirit. When the evil spirit shadow appeared, its figure flashed and it turned into a streamer and flew away. Seeing the evil spirit shadow fly away, Zi Yunxiao quickly followed and flew 10,000 meters away in the blink of an eye. Seeing Zi Yunxiao's action, although Jing Chuxiong and the rest did not understand, they immediately followed. After a while, under the guidance of the evil spirit shadow, Zi Yunxiao and the rest arrived above a small courtyard. What a rich blood qi fluctuation! This is the place. Zi Yunxiao stood above the small courtyard with a greedy expression on his face. His eyes coldly looked at the small courtyard. After carefully looking at the small courtyard, a cold smile appeared on Zi Yunxiao's face. He raised his hand and blasted toward the small courtyard. Decay heaven and earth! Zi Yunxiao's palm blasted out. Immediately, a gray mist-like saint force condensed and formed a huge zombie shadow. When the zombie shadow appeared, it rushed toward the small courtyard in a frenzied manner. Boom! The zombie shadow rushed into the courtyard and directly exploded, turning into a terrifying corrosive power. Under the corrosion of this corrosive power, the buildings and plants in the small courtyard instantly withered and eroded. At this moment, 3 disheveled figures flew out with flustered expressions. These 3 figures were Wan Man and the other 2. Dark Devil Clan. When Wan Man and the other 2 arrived in the air, they immediately recognized Zi Yunxiao's origin. Their expressions became somewhat flustered. With their intelligence and experience, they were naturally able to guess Zi Yunxiao's purpose in coming here. If there were no surprises, the purpose of Zi Yunxiao and the others coming here should be for the 3 of their blood. The 3 of you come with me. Looking at Wan Man and the other 2 before him, a cold smile appeared on Zi Yunxiao's face as he ordered the 3 of them. Zi Yunxiao's words seemed to be an order, but in reality, there was an unquestionable feeling. He did not give Wan Man and the other 2 a chance to refuse. Seeing the situation before them, Wan Man and the other 2 immediately bitterly smiled. Their mood was extremely gloomy. They did not expect that just as they left the tiger's den, they would enter the wolf's den and be targeted by the Dark Devil Clan. More importantly, the 3 of them were already seriously injured. Just now, they were suddenly ambushed by Zi Yunxiao, causing their injuries to worsen. With their current state, they did not have the slightest chance of winning if they wanted to fight with Zi Yunxiao and the others. However, if they listened to Zi Yunxiao, they would have even less chance of survival. They were now in a hopeless situation. Looks like you're not willing to cooperate. I can only say sorry. Seeing Wan Man and the other 2 remain silent, Zi Yunxiao guessed what they were thinking and his face gradually became gloomy. After understanding Wan Man and the other 2's thoughts, Zi Yunxiao did not waste any more words with them. He immediately ordered Jing Chuxiong and the others, attack. Capture all 3 of them. If one of them escapes, I'll hold you responsible. Once Zi Yunxiao finished speaking, he charged toward Wan Man and the other 2 and directly tried to kill them. Yes. Hearing Zi Yunxiao's order, Jing Chuxiong and the others did not dare to hesitate. They all attacked Wan Man. If Wan Man and the other 2 were in their peak state, they would not be afraid of Zi Yunxiao and the others. However, they did not even have 30% of their strength. How could they fight? Very quickly, Wan Man and the other 2 were surrounded by danger under Zi Yunxiao and the others' attacks. In the end, Wan Man and the other 2 struggled for a while before dying at the hands of Zi Yunxiao and the others. After planting their blood, my strength will increase by 50%. After taking away the corpses of Wan Man and the other 2, Zi Yunxiao smiled coldly and flew back to his residence. Seeing Zi Yunxiao's return, Jing Chuxiong and the others quickly followed and did not continue to stay there. Mo Qinyun, who was in Thousand Language City, knew nothing about what had happened to Wan Man and the others. He did not know that one man and the other two had escaped from his hands but died at the hands of Ziyun Shao. After Mo Qingyun came out of his room, he went to the Thousand Language Mansion's conference hall and found Qian, Yulong and the others. Has there been any big movement in Thousand Language City recently? Mo Qingyun sat at the top of the conference hall. He glanced at Qian Yulong and the others and asked about the recent situation in Thousand Language City. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Qian Yulong's expression immediately turned serious and he said in a deep voice, "A few days ago, the Dark Demon clan from Thousand Moon City arrived. However, we did not know which force received them and quickly hid them." Mo Qingyun was stunned when he heard Qian Yulong's report. He was a little surprised by the situation. He did not expect that there would be spies from the Dark Demon clan in Thousand Language City. This was really surprising. It had to be said that this wave of Dark Demon race's troops had hidden themselves too deeply. Mo Qingyun was slightly surprised, but he did not think too much about it. He asked again, "How is the strength of the Dark Demon clan? Did you observe them clearly?" According to the person who reported the news, there are 2 advanced Sage Realm experts and many ordinary Sage Realm experts. After hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Qian Yulong reported the situation to Mo Qingyun. After knowing the strength of the Dark Demon clan, Mo Qingyun revealed a look of understanding and said, "There are 2 advanced Sage Realm experts. Although it is a little troublesome to deal with them, it is only a little troublesome." After understanding the strength of the Dark Demon clan, Mo Qingyun did not pay much attention to it and started to ask about other matters. After informing Qian Yulong about the current situation in Thousand Language City, Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong left. After leaving the Thousand Language Palace, Missouri Qingyun went directly to the Precious Treasure Pavilion to check on the progress of the Precious Treasure Pavilion branch. Mo Qingyun chatted with Zheng Ping for a while and found out everything about the Precious Treasure Pavilion branch. Everything was progressing smoothly and the branch would be open in a few days. After reporting to Mo Qingyun about the Precious Treasure Pavilion, the chief steward frowned slightly and said, "Mr. Mo, Sect Master Chern Huangyi of the Bloodsword Sect came to look for you a few days ago. Do you want to meet him?" "Sect Master Chen came to look for me?" Mo Qingyun was shocked when he heard the chief steward's report. He thought to himself, "Sect Master Chen is a good person. He must have something important to discuss with me. I will go and meet him." Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment and made a decision. He was prepared to meet Chen Huangyi. After saying that, Mo Qingyun left the Precious Treasure Pavilion and went to the Bloodsword Sect to look for Chen Huangyi. After a short while, Mo Qingyun arrived outside the Bloodsword Sect and asked a guard to pass a message to him. Chapter 2140. In the Conference Hall of the Bloodsword Sect. What? Mo Qingyun came to the Bloodsword Sect? Chen Huangyi revealed a shocked expression when he heard the message from the guards. He was quite shocked by this news. He never thought that Mo Qingyun would take the initiative to visit him. This was too unexpected. After calming down the shock in his heart, Chen Huangyi no longer hesitated and immediately went to welcome Mo Qingyun. Before he saw Mo Qingyun, he still didn't dare to believe that Mo Qingyun would personally visit him. Not long after, Chen Huangyi saw Mo Qingyun waiting outside under the guidance of the guards. "Mr. Mo, you're here. Please come in." Seeing Mo Qingyun waiting outside, Chen Huangyi revealed a warm smile and invited Mo Qingyun in. Seeing Chen Huangyi's actions, Mo Qingyun nodded with a faint smile. His impression of Chen Huangyi had improved by a lot. No matter what, Chen Huangyi was the first true friend he had in Thousand Words City. Perhaps it was because of the deaths of Chen Lin and Chen Yu, but Chen Huangyi brought Mo Qingyun into the Bloodsword Sect and didn't bring him to the conference hall. After bringing Mo Qingyun into the Bloodsword Sect, Chen Huangyi directly brought Mo Qingyun back to his residence. As if he was worried that someone would eavesdrop on their conversation, Chen Huangyi returned to his courtyard and brought Emo Qingyun into a secret room. Seeing Chen Huangyi's actions, Emo Qingyun's expression became serious. He felt that something was wrong. At the same time, he also understood why Chen Huangyi was looking for him. From the looks of it, Chen Huangyi must have something important to talk to him about. Sect Master Chen, I heard that you were looking for me. May I know why you were looking for me? Seeing that Chen Huangyi had taken care of everything, Emo Qingyun didn't beat around the bush and directly asked. Hearing Emo Qingyun's question, Chen Huangyi's expression immediately turned solemn. He said in a deep voice, "Have you accidentally offended any hidden enemies recently?" After his previous conjecture, Chen Huangyi was 100% sure that the two of them were not killed by Emo Qingyun. Even if it was related to Emo Qingyun, it was not his original intention. More importantly, Chen Huangyi wanted to find the culprit, not kill Emo Qingyun, the scapegoat. Hidden enemies? Hearing Chen Huangyi's words, Emo Qingyun's brows furrowed as he quickly recalled. Emo Qingyun thought for a moment and thought of a candidate. He looked solemnly at Chen Huangyi and said, "Sect Master Chen, I won't hide it from you. If I've offended an enemy in the dark, it might be your protector. Protector Tian." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Chen Huangyi's body trembled as if he had been struck by lightning. He thought to himself, could it be that the deaths of Lin Er and Emo Qingyun, Chen Huangyi was able to create the Bloodsword sect and was naturally not a fool? On the contrary, his intelligence far exceeded that of the average person. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, he immediately thought of a possibility. The deaths of Chen Lin and Emo Qingyun could be Ting Sha's doing. He might want to use the deaths of Chen Lin and Emo Qingyun to get Chen Huangyi's help to carry out his plan against Emo Qingyun. Besides, the only person who benefited from the deaths of Chen Lin and Emo Qingyun was Ting Sha. As such, Ting Sha was the prime suspect. As for Emo Qingyun's other enemies, such as Jin Renhe, the Bloody Corpse Demon Sect and the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion, they would not do such a thing. After this analysis, the culprit behind the deaths of Chen Lin and Emo Qingyun was most likely Ting Sha. Protector Tian, you are so vicious. After figuring out the crux of the matter, Chen Huangyi's expression became ferocious as he gritted his teeth and shouted angrily. Seeing Chen Huangyi's expression, Emo Qingyun was puzzled and asked, "Sect Leader Chen, what's wrong? Could it be that you have encountered some trouble?" Under Emo Qingyun's questioning, Chen Huangyi suppressed the anger in his heart and looked curiously at Emo Qingyun. He asked, "Mr. Emo, forgive me for asking, but what kind of enmity do you have with Protector Tian?" When Chen Huangyi said this, his expression was filled with anticipation as well as a trace of grief and indignation. Seeing Chen Huangyi's expression, although Emo Qingyun was puzzled, he could feel that Chen Huangyi did not have any ill intentions. After realizing this, Emo Qingyun organized his thoughts and explained simply, "The enmity between Protector Tian and me is a little complicated. It has to be explained from his identity. He is the ancestor of the Ting lineage of the Heavenly Soul Demon clan. Initially, he attacked me mainly to avenge his juniors. Later on, he took a fancy to a magic treasure on my body and began to think of ways to kill me. As a result, he even hurt my lover." Following this, Emo Qingyun roughly explained the course of events. Protector Tian is really too shameless. In order to deal with a junior, he actually resorted to such unscrupulous means. After hearing Emo Qingyun's explanation, Chen Huangyi was even more certain that the person who killed Chen Lin and her lover was Ting Sha. For Ting Sha to commit such a shameless act, it was not strange that he would kill Chen Lin and her lover in order to deal with Emo Qingyun. After giving a simple explanation to Chen Huangyi, Emo Qingyun revealed a curious expression and asked, "Sect Master Chen, what kind of trouble did you encounter? If you trust me, you can tell me. Perhaps I can be of some help." Mo Qingyun had a good impression of Chen Huangyi. If he could help the other party, he did not mind lending a helping hand. Mr. Mo, thank you very much. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Chen Huangyi revealed a grateful expression. After hesitating for a moment, he said, "The situation is like this. A few days ago, my son and daughter returned, who knew that when they were strolling around the city, they were secretly killed. In the end, their bodies were actually in your guest room. Later on, after hearing Protector Tian's explanation, I developed a hatred for you and asked Protector Tian to ambush and kill you." At this moment, Chen Huangyi revealed all of Tingsha's plans. After hearing Chen Huangyi's words, Mo Qingyun's heart sank. An intense apologetic expression surfaced on his face as he said, "Sect Leader Chen, I am really very sorry about this matter. I did not know that because of some reasons I actually caused your son and daughter to be killed." From Mo Qingyun's point of view, if he had directly killed Tingsha that day, this matter would not have happened. Mo Qingyun, this is Lin and Yuer's fate. It cannot be blamed on you. Hearing Mo Qingyun's apologetic words, Chen Huangyi's hatred towards Mo Qingyun immediately lessened by a lot. He said, "If you really want to blame someone, you can only blame me for having bad taste. I actually used someone like Protector Tian." After conversing with Chen Huangyi, Mo Qingyun's expression became serious. With a resolute expression, he said, "Sect Leader Chen, don't worry. Although I am unable to revive your son and daughter, but for the two of them, I will definitely avenge them." "Thank you, Mr. Mo." Hearing Mo Qingyun's guarantee, Chen Huangyi once again expressed his gratitude. The corners of his eyes could not help but moisten. Chapter 2141. Mo Qingyun and Chen Huangyi's conversation lasted for several hours before they finally stopped. After his conversation with Chen Huangyi ended, Mo Qingyun did not stay any longer and immediately left the Bloodsword sect. Leaving the Bloodsword sect, Mo Qingyun's expression was extremely ugly. His fists were tightly clenched as he angrily said, "Tingsha, you deserve to die. In order to deal with me, you actually implicated innocent people." At this moment, Mo Qingyun's killing intent towards Tingsha had reached an unprecedented level. Tingsha was the type of person he hated the most, implicating innocent people with his hatred. Suppressing the anger in his heart, Mo Qingyun returned to the treasure pavilion to attend the couple's funeral. Not long after Mo Qingyun left, Tingsha arrived at Chen Huangyi's courtyard. Looks like he already knew that Mo Qingyun would be coming. At this moment, Tingsha's expression was extremely ugly, as if he was unhappy that Chen Huangyi was meeting Mo Qingyun alone. Entering Chen Huangyi's courtyard, Tingsha's eyes flashed with a cold light as he unhappily reprimanded, "Master, our allies are already here. It's not good for you to meet Mo Qingyun in private. If they misunderstand, there will be a lot of trouble." At this moment, Tingsha's words clearly carried a hint of warning. Seeing Tingsha's attitude, Chen Huangyi was immediately displeased. His expression darkened as he scolded, "Guardian Tian, please take note of your status. You have no right to control how I do things." Seeing Chen Huangyi's anger, Tingsha's body trembled as he realized that he had gone overboard. No matter what, Chen Huangyi was the master of the Bloodsword sect and was the most important person in the Bloodsword sect. He was only a guardian of the Bloodsword sect, but now he was trying to control Chen Huangyi. This was obviously not very appropriate. Realizing that he had lost his composure, Tingsha's expression immediately changed as he started to explain on behalf of Mo Qingyun. "Master, your subordinate only wanted to avenge young master and young mistress and did not mean to offend you. That Mo Qingyun has a glib tongue, you must not be fooled by him." Seeing Tingsha's performance, Chen Huangyi's expression turned for the better as he nodded his head and said, "Guardian Tian, because of Lin and Yuer's deaths, my mood is not very good. If my tone earlier was overboard, I hope that you will not take it to heart. Sect Master, I can understand your feelings. If that's the case, I'll take my leave first. Seeing that he was unable to pry anything out of Chen Huangyi, Ting Sha did not stay any longer and directly took his leave. Looking at Ting Sha, who was gradually walking away, Chen Huangyi's gaze immediately turned cold and gloomy as he secretly raged. Ting Sha, the enmity of killing my son and daughter is absolutely irreconcilable. During Lin and Yu funeral, I will definitely personally kill you. Seeing Ting Sha's performance, Chen Huangyi was even more certain of his conjecture. He was already 90% sure that the murderer of Chen Lin and Chen Yu was his blood sword sex guardian Tian. After leaving Chen Huangyi's side, Ting Sha went to meet the people from the dark demon race. A fawning expression surfaced on his face as he said, Lord Zirong, I've already gone to inquire. Chen Huangyi met Mo Qinyun because Mo Qinyun suddenly came and he had to deal with Mo Qinyun. Hearing Ting Sha's words, a burly man's expression turned for the better as he said, That's the best. If you dare to play any tricks, don't blame this old man for not giving you any face. Yes. Under Zirong's warning, Ting Sha hurriedly nodded his head in response, with the attitude of a dog servant. Seeing Ting Sha's respectful attitude, Zirong's expression turned for the better as he looked towards the other late-stage Sage Realm expert and said, Zitong, how is Master Wenyue's formation going? In order to prevent Mo Qinyun from leaving Thousand Language City, we must speed up the progress. Soon. It should be completed by the day after tomorrow. Zitong replied indifferently when he heard Zirong's question. He had a hesitant expression as he said, I just received news from the main clan that the Cloud Sky Saint has also come to the 1000 Illusions. It seems that he's also here to deal with Mo Qinyun. Should we wait for the Cloud Sky Saint to come? No need. Zirong rejected Zitong's question without hesitation. He said in a deep voice, The Cloud Sky Saint has just obtained a powerful bloodline and is preparing to plant it. By the time he arrives, Mo Qinyun might have already left. In order to prevent any accidents from happening, it's better for us to act first. That's true. Zitong nodded his head when he heard Zirong's analysis. He felt that Zirong's analysis made sense. Zirong and the others chatted for a while before they left the room and headed towards a plaza in the Bloodsword sect. At that moment, the plaza was filled with white wreaths and 2 coffins made of black iron. It seemed that this was the place where the 2 of them would be holding their funerals. After Zirong and the others arrived, he began to make arrangements to deal with Mo Qinyun. In the blink of an eye, 2 days passed. A Bloodsword sect's disciple came to the treasure pavilion to inform Mo Qinyun to attend the 2 of them's funerals. After hearing the disciple's message, Mo Qinyun did not hesitate and immediately went over with Qian Linglong. Before Mo Qinyun left for the Bloodsword sect, he had sent the 1000-language manor and gold punishment palace's people to the Fortune mainland. This was to make it easier for the gold punishment palace and 1000-language manor's people to join the battle. A short while later, Mo Qinyun arrived at the funeral plaza under the guidance of the Bloodsword sect's disciple. Chen Huangyi and the others were already waiting there. Each of them had a strange expression on their faces, as if they had ulterior motives. Many people looked at Mo Qinyun with eyes that were filled with intense killing intent. Mo Qinyun surveyed his surroundings. He discovered that there were many powerful auras hidden among the ordinary disciples in the surroundings. If he guessed correctly, these people should be the Dark Devil Tribe's people, and they were here to deal with him. After ascertaining the situation, Mo Qinyun ignored them and went up to burn incense for Chen Lin and Qian Linglong. Although Chen Lin and Qian Linglong were not killed by him, they had died because of him. It was only right to burn incense for them. Mo Qinyun, you killed the young lord and young miss. Obediently admit your guilt and pay with your life. Seeing that Mo Qinyun had finished burning the incense, Ting Sha slowly walked out and scolded Mo Qingyun. Hearing Ting Sha's words, the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curved into a cold sneer. His eyes were filled with mockery as he said, Ting Sha, your ability to cry thief is getting better and better. In order to deal with me, you actually did such a heartless thing. It seems like your Ting bloodline's despicable, shameless, and lowly nature has been passed down from generation to generation. Mo Qingyun, shut up! Hearing Mo Qingyun's insults, Ting Sha immediately bellowed, expressing his anger. Mo Qingyun did not care about Ting Sha's anger. He looked at Chun Lin and Qian Linglong's memorial tablets and said, the two of you can rest in peace. Soon, the people who killed you will be buried with you. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.